multi-housed individual, Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get on the choice, but they're going to mandate you get it on. Thanks for tuning in. I love that about you. Gary and Leah, good to see you guys.
Hi, Adam.
Good to see you.
A lot to talk about. Gary's a stand-up comedian. Leah's a stand-up comedian, but Gary's also a warm-up guy, which was a dream job for me many years ago, and I think it needs to be explored.
Yeah.
No one better than you to get into that.
It's a great gig in town.
Also, you warmed up an audience for a show that I worked on called
Yes.
The Car Show as well.
Oh.
So that's interesting. So audience warm-up, just so people know why it's kind of a dream gig, is first thing. Now, look, it's not a dream gig in terms of, well, why, just have a syndicated daytime television show like Judge Judy and make $2 billion a year. It's not that kind of dream gig, but it's a reasonable dream gig in that you do not have to travel, which is a stand-up thing, and it's very consistent. If you work on a show that keeps getting renewed, you do currently right now, which shows?
I'm on the Jennifer Hudson Show, which tapes at Warner Brothers. I live in Studio City, 10 minutes away.
Right.
So that's 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 2 shows a day. Unbelievable. Still can go on the road.
Right.
Friday through Sunday, be back on Monday. And then I fill in summer dates, and then when we're not filming Jennifer at The Masked Singer.
The Masked Singer. So it pays way better than what people would think. And it's real consistent. And, you have to be good, but it's hard. I mean, you don't drop any F-bombs or N-bombs and be reasonably excited to be there. And you should be able to keep your job, right?
It's one of those things I started years and years ago. And in fact, we met when I was doing warm-up on Last Call with Carson Daly, which was back in 2005. That was really my first real full-time warm-up gig. That was a great gig. I mean, I think we filmed that show 3 days a week, 2 shows a day. He's great. It was a comedy show, a late-night show, no pressure. He was a great boss. Certain shows are definitely higher up in terms of level of wanting, like Masked Singer, for example. I mean, that show is very difficult for 4 or 5 hours because they want that audience at such a high energy level for the entire show, regardless of what's going on. Conan, when I worked at Conan, great gig, but you need them laughing before you leave. Jennifer Hudson, I love daytime because it's not that comedy driven. It's a feel-good show. So as long as you get them engaged and in a good mood and clapping for the next hour, everybody's happy. And I will say this about warm-up, especially in LA, New York, the same way, it's a very small group. There's probably 10 to 12 people who do it in this little pocket area of LA. That's it.
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said, except for the part about Carson Daly being nice. He's a total fucking douchebag. Fuck Carson Daly. He's one of the nicest guys.
He's great
in the world. And so I was at the Acme Theater, 1990, 91, something like that. And I was just the guy who was making $13 an hour as a carpenter by day, and then at night doing sketch improv stuff and trying to figure out how I was going to make a living. And then then we had a guy who was a friend of a guy I brought up on the show recently named Paul Rugg, and he brought him in, and his name was Rugg. Jim O'Doherty was his name. He was a big, Irish guy, And we tried to bring him into the group, but he wasn't really sketch improv funny, but he was a warm-up guy. And I remember talking to him. He'd do Married with Children and Phallip's Bloopers and Blunders or something with Dom DeLuise or what America's Funniest Videos or something. And I remember talking to him. Do you guys remember when you were a civilian and you got $13 an hour or something an hour for doing stuff, and then you'd talk to somebody and you'd go, so how long? What's the gig like for Married with Children? He'd go, I'd show up about 6. We'd tape about 7. I'd be out of there by 8:15, and I'd go, okay, so what do you get, like 14, 15 an hour? So was that like $30, $28? You go, oh, I get $2,000.
Right.
And I'd go, whoa, what? And how you do it like once a year? No, we do it every week. I'd be like, oh my God, how's this work? So I was like, I could do this. I could do audience warm up. And by the way, that would be the last job I ever needed, because you're getting a couple grand, $1,500, do a couple shows a week. And then he goes, oh yeah, when I'm done with that, I go over to American Gladiators and do that. And then that's about it for the week. I'm like, that's it for the week? No more work? You could sleep in. It was like mind blown, because I was in like civilian job mode. And he wasn't really happy to help me, I guess is how I would describe
most
Jim.
Warm-ups won't help. I mean, they don't want you intruding on their business. They think you're going to steal gigs. I mean, by the way, I never mind sitting down with a comic or somebody telling them how I got started, because I just know I have a relationship with a bunch of producers in L.A. Most of the producers use the same people over and over again. Chuck Lorre uses the same guy that has been with him for the last 30 years, a guy named Mark Sweet.
They get very dedicated and almost superstitious. Like, we need this guy. We're shooting this pilot. We need Todd. And I've been on the other end going, I don't know, he's busy. Get somebody else. I go, no, this is an important pilot. I'd go, yeah, he's not on camera or anything. And they'd go, no, this is important. We got to get him.
Well, you know what it is, too? Here's the issue with warm-ups. Let's say you're a better fit than, say, another guy to do a show. Those producers are going to use that person that they want to use, because if for some reason the audience is bad, they can still say, hey, listen, we went with our guy. We know this guy. He's always worked. And that way the producers can justify if for some reason the audience was bad, because we got the top guy. But if they bring me in not knowing and I don't do a good job, then it falls on them and me.
It's a great gig that straddles the Mason-Dixon line of celebrity and schlub with a job. It's a kick-ass job to anybody who has a regular job, and it's a shit job to Dave Chappelle. That's basically what audience warm-up is. But you're still way ahead of the game. But I think
seems really fun.
Take a guess.
I think there's some comedians that look down their nose at it. Like, you go, you could stay in town, you could make good money, and they go, yeah, I'm a comedian, I'm a stand-up.
Take a guess at what do you think a warm-up on a sitcom makes now? You were saying $2,000 for Married with Children. What do you think the rate is today?
$4,000.
I'm going off a 34-year-old discussion, 33-year-old discussion. But I remember it being 15 to $2,000 or some number that sounded I'd have to put a deck onto somebody's house to get paid $1,500 back then. Now, this could be a trick question, because when I was talking to Jim O'Doherty in 1991 about $1,500 for $2,000 for Married with Children, a Grand Slam at Denny's was $199.
I love your comparisons.
And if you ask me today, what's a Grand Slam at Denny's? I go, it's like $14 now or something like this. So that's inflation. On the other hand, Tim Allen or Roseanne was making $1 million an episode doing the sitcom you do the warm-up for. Now, God knows, you're not getting paid to do a sitcom. You're not getting that kind of Roseanne money in today. So showbiz, Grand Slams have gone up, but there's parts of show business have gone down. I mean, that's the new world order. So this is a tricky question for me.
Leah said 4.
I said 4.
Okay.
I'm sticking with it.
She said 4, and you gave her like a point and a nod.
Really? You saw that?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got peripheral
Does that mean she was
vision.
too high or too low? I mean,
or correct.
My poker face, your non-poker face, it looked like you gave her, hey, good. Yeah.
Good job.
Right there.
And you got to remember, there's about 22 episodes of a sitcom per season. So if somebody did it at $4,000, made 80 something.
The nature of why you asked that question, to bolster my point, suggests to me that it's higher than it was when Jim was doing it back in the day. I'll go $5,000.
Okay. It's about, if you're a regular on a show, maybe the guy who does Tim's new show or a Chuck Lorre show, you're looking at about 6.
Damn.
Oh,
6?
son of a bitch. What are we doing here,
6.
people?
Wow.
6 and 22 episodes a season.
Yeah.
You
my
could just do
God.
that. Head back to Nebraska or Michigan after you're done with the 22 episodes and
people
live
do
comfortably.
multiple shows.
Oh yeah,
It's $132,000.
and I will say
Somebody
right now,
check my math, Joe.
sitcoms are coming back. I mean, there's a ton of them right now. Night Court and there's just a bunch of new shows. I mean, to go to the audience website, One Iota, and they do all the ticketing for these sites. It's really nice to see all these coming back.
Well, what are you doing, Leah? Just hanging around, taking suggestions from the crowd.
You know
singing
it.
your dumb songs.
I'm trying to get into a multicam sitcom. That's what I'm trying to do.
Well, I think that
I love that they're coming back.
I think I feel like if I was talking to my son and he was talking about show business, I would say, son, you could try for a long time to be the lead or the best friend in a sitcom that probably never going to happen, but go the audience warm-up route, get your $6,000 and have a good life over
Here's
here.
the only downside to a sitcom. If for some reason you tape on a Tuesday and the crowd is bad, and it could be very well bad, you have another 6 days to lick your wounds before the next one. And all you're probably getting phone calls. Why were they bad? What was going on? If you're doing a regular show like Conan or Jennifer Hudson, you're back again in less than 24 hours that you can get that sour taste out of your mouth, and they've forgotten about that one.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I any audience warm up, whether it's a strip show, daily, whatever, gang taping, or it's a sitcom, whatever, it's a good gig. It's in town. The studios are, like I said, Studio City, live in Valley Village, whatever. All right.
Can I just say this? Here's a show that I didn't enjoy doing. A show like when I would warm up like a Chelsea Lately or a David Spade Lights Out, because here's the issue. You have 3 comics that are competing for laughs, right? If the crowd is bad...
You mean
maybe
on the panel?
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a bad crowd. Maybe it's an all-paid audience because we can't fill the seats. Now the audience isn't laughing. Now the comics, all 3 of them who I know, are looking at me like, what the hell? My jokes are dying. Never taking responsibility that they're dying. It's always looking at me.
Are you internalizing too much, perhaps, Gary
No.
Boom Boom Cannon?
No.
Boom Boom
No.
Cannon.
People
Do
have called me
people
that
call
before.
you
But
that?
yes.
Because I have a weird thing, and maybe it's just me, but I don't care about openers or warm-ups or having someone on or warming up the crowd or doing anything. I just assume if it's not a good day or good night, it's all because of me and my material. I would have zero thoughts about who won up before me, whether it's a stand-up situation or warm-up situation. I would internalize all of it and assume none of it was anybody else's fault.
That's a good
Except
mindset.
for me just being
I
a
don't
shitty
think
comedian.
most people are that way.
So you don't want to promote that I'm hosting for you at the Ice House in a couple weeks?
Yeah. No, you can go up there and you can go up there and go full Michael Richards, and I'll walk right up right after you. I have
Like
no thoughts
nothing
about
happened.
it.
Dave Chappelle had the funniest thing when he was talking about the Michael Richards thing, and he said Michael probably had this thing after looking or doing that badly that night. I'll get him next show.
Yeah, there's a 10 o'clock.
Right.
All right, well, let me ask you guys on an overall comedic thought here. So I was watching Selling Sunset on Netflix. I don't know if you guys will keep up with that show.
yes.
It's kind of drama heavy now.
Yeah, that's why I laughed at you.
And the women are
watching that.
Well, here's what happened with me, but I'm going to use Selling Sunset as sort of a metaphor to describe society.
Okay.
Okay. I love architecture and I love building and I love carpentry and I love it. All those shows where they tour the multi-million-dollar house, I'm all in on all those shows. And I also get ideas like, oh, travertine. Ooh, interesting. Oh, yeah, large format travertine. I like that tile. I'll write that down. So Selling Sunset came on to Netflix 5 years ago. They're on season 8 right now. I don't know how seasons used to be a season a year. Now it's all confusing. Yeah. But, Survivor's on its 131st season. Jeff Probst looks the same.
He does. He looks great.
Yeah, I think it's the choker. I think it cuts off.
Keeps him young.
It cuts the blood off. It stays in his head. He never grows old.
good,
The
yeah.
choker chokes. It can't drain.
Right.
His brain can't drain. His face. All the
Smart.
glands in his face can't drain
He still looks
properly.
really young. He still looks great.
It's the choker.
Yeah.
All guys who wear chokers look young. Look it up.
Wow.
It has to do with circulation.
Why don't you wear one?
I'm not gay. Sorry, Gary. I know there's just backstory there. But we can
Bye.
get in. I don't want people to think I'm a douche. That's because I'm not a douchebag, is what I'm
Okay.
saying. I'd rather look old and not be thought of as a douche. But chokers,
There you go.
the blood goes up. When you're 37, you put the choker on. And then when you're 60, you look the same because the blood never gets out. That's how it works. I talked to Drew about it once, Dr. Drew.
Really?
Yeah.
Did
Said-
he agree that is?
Yeah, he nodded the whole time. Yeah, it's a fact. Well, look, Google it. Anyway.
Okay.
So let's not get sidetracked. So they're on their 8th season, and they're 5 years in. And I did tune in season 1 because I'm the same. I look around Netflix, see what's going on out there, see a show about super high-end real estate, and I tune in. And in season 1, it was attractive women who were reasonably dressed, professionally dressed, selling multi-million-dollar custom homes above the Sunset Strip and the Bird Streets or Bel Air or what have you. And then you get a nice long tour of the home, a detailed long tour of the home, which I enjoyed with the floating cantilever balcony and the infinity pool and eye candy to me. And I enjoyed it. Then there was a little inner office drama, but it was mostly about the homes.
Okay.
Then season 2 rolled around, and there was a little more skin, little more cleavage, little more eye makeup, little more hair, and a little more drama in the office. Little less tours of the custom homes and a little more chicks calling each other bitch in an office. And then season 3 came around and the houses were down to about 50% of the show. And it was more, we're going out for appletinis and then we're going to argue while we're drinking appletinis at the restaurant. Then the next year would go by and it'd be less. I tuned in to the beginning of season 8 the other night. It was all bitches dressed like transvestites, literally fighting in restaurants.
No
So we're
homes.
done with the homes. We've moved on.
Oh my
We've turned the
God.
page on the homes. We're now down to, we've distilled it
Sure.
down
That sounds like
to
Real
what
Housewives.
women want. They want bitches fighting, drinking appletinis. They're not interested in architecture and engineering. So they just went, let's just do this. The show's turned into a telenovela where hot chicks dressed like whores fight about shit and talk shit about the other chicks who aren't at the restaurant drinking appletinis. And I thought, that's kind of a metaphor for our society. You know, we used to talk about sort of nuts and bolts and issues and mechanical stuff, stuff, even when we talk about, you look at a debate where, Mitt Romney was going against Barack Obama, very civil. Lots of talk about policy, no personal shots at anybody, no laughing or snickering or not. Now it's turned into this. And it's taken about the same time, these 8 seasons of Selling Sunset, that we as a society have sort of devolved into the same direction. We're now just watching chicks fight at a restaurant. That's what we've turned into. And the producers figured out what we wanted. They were like, listen, our feedback is they like it when Tammy and Sherry just fucking yell at each other at a restaurant. And so now here we are. And I don't think it's, as a guy who likes architecture and policy, not good for me. But it seems like that's the direction we've moved as a society.
They're selling sunset, but they're also selling sex and drama. And I think it's funny that you're continuing to watch because I also watched in the beginning. I love the architecture. It's so beautiful. But I love that you stuck around and you're still there for the drama.
I sampled.
But don't you think, look, at the original reality show was what? Real World back years and years
yeah.
ago? And then I think
So
what
good.
happened was now that these more reality shows keep coming out and The Bachelor, all these things, like people realize that even if they're not going to win or they're not going to be on top of the show, they can then spin it into their own reality of a TV. Like whenever I watch
Brand.
The Bachelor and they say, "Oh, I'm a dentist in Georgia," like that, they're not going to be doing that once the show's done because they want to then project themselves into a TV celebrity host or
Yep.
something. Like once you get that fame and that limelight, that's what they want. They're not going to go back to Oklahoma and be a whatever it is. It's
Right.
like they want fame. I mean, that's what people want.
Which is why social media has changed. I'm a huge Bachelor fan,
Yeah.
and it has changed The Bachelor so much. Because already it was like, "Are you here for the right reasons?" was always a phrase people said.
Always.
But now with social media, it's so much bigger because people really often are there.
I
for
do
the wrong
warm up on The
reasons.
Bachelor.
Do you?
For
Oh,
the
really?
live
Oh my
shows.
God,
It's the
that's so
greatest.
cool.
The greatest.
Oh, the live. Oh, right.
Yeah, when they do the tell-alls and the
drama.
Oh, it's the greatest.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So that's my
Wait, quick question.
selling sunset metaphor.
Who's your favorite girly?
Let's see. All right.
Or if you like the twins, the Oppenheimer, is that right?
Yeah, the two brothers. I'm just gonna go easy. I'll go Christelle.
Chriselle? That's my
sorry.
favorite, too.
She's come in here before. She's a sweetheart.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I love her.
And one of the Oppenheimers has come in. Maybe both. I can't remember which one. The English chick, woman of color. I like her, but she bothers me a little bit. I don't like her wedgie shoes. She's short.
Is this
Own
the
it.
original cast or is this they changed
All
it
right.
up?
All right, I'm done with my metaphor.
Wait, it
Any
has
other
changed.
thoughts on my metaphor?
has changed.
We're moving on. All right, next subject then. The air. No, I'll get into this in a second. Dave Grohl had himself a kid out of wedlock.
Yeah.
Did you guys hear about this?
Yeah.
And I was thinking about. I know him a little bit. I'm not, besties, but I'm friendly. Been around long enough. He had. I know his wife because I had an unfortunate situation with her a long time ago. That was just. It was confusion, but his sister lived across the street from a home that I owned, and I'm not saying it wasn't the house I lived in. It was just a house that I had that was sort of the party house. Long story, but I had a party house, and
In LA?
yeah,
Okay.
it was, and she lived across the street. And the sister did. And then I was doing an event. Maybe it was a K-Rock weenie roast. Or no, maybe it's a K-Rock acoustic Christmas or something. And I guess I was hanging around talking to Dave after the show or something backstage. And Lisa Grohl's, Dave Grohl's sister. And I guess we're just talking, and I said, well, when you come out to L.A. to do a show, do you just stay at the hotel and the Universal whatever, or you go down to the peninsula or something? And he goes, oh, no, I stay at my sister's place. It's out in the valley. And I was like, oh, I got a place out in the valley. And he said, yeah, it's on Ben Street or whatever street it was. And I go, oh, I got a place on Ben Street. And then he goes, yeah, it's right off of Riverside or whatever, just blocked down from Riverside. And I was like, yeah, I got a house that's right there too. And then we tried to narrow it down with the address or whatever, and I was like, your sister lives across the street from my house, my party house. So he said, yeah, well, that's where I'm staying. I said, well, we go there on Saturdays with the boys and shoot hoops and hang out a little bit. So come by and check it out, say hi, shoot some hoops or whatever it was. And then he was like, yeah, all right, yeah, fine. So then the next day, which was like a Saturday, and we were shooting hoops with the boys at the party house. It was like noon or maybe, and I just go across the street and tap on the door and see if Dave wants to come have a beer or shoot some hoop or something. And I tapped on the door, and a woman came downstairs, blonde, disheveled. I would call her. Look, I definitely woke her up. These guys were sleeping in, and she's like, hello. And I was like, yeah, I just want to say hi to Dave. I'm next door, whatever that is. And we look at a picture, young version of them. That's Dave and his sister. Yeah, okay, sorry. So there you go. So, but his sister didn't answer the door, disheveled blonde did. That's why that was confusing timing-wise. All right, take it down. So then I said, yes, he's asleep or whatever. And then later on the following week or something, I was telling the story on the radio. And I said, well, I went over to Dave Grohl's house and some groupie, like some floozy, answered the door, you know? And then he got pissed because it was his wife. Or if it wasn't his wife, at the time, it was going to be his wife. So that was a little backstory there. But Dave has 3 daughters and then his wife. Mm-hmm. And then he had a child out of wedlock. And he just came out and said, this is what I did. And I'm sticking with I'm going to take care of my responsibilities. I'm not going Hunter Biden. I'm going to pay for the kid. I will acknowledge the kid. Mm-hmm. Joe Biden will acknowledge the kid, and I'll do what's right, and I'll try to prove to my family that I'm worthy of their love or respect or trust or whatever it is. That's the road. He took the high road. Yeah. Good for him.
He came out and said, I got a confession.
Yeah.
Thank you, I had to.
So, the worst
of me.
So, somebody's got it. Come on, Weird Al. So I go, all right, I respect that. But then I was looking at a picture of him on TMZ, and he's got his wife and his 3 daughters and him. So it's already a battle because these bitches all hate his guts about now, right?
And I believe he had a daughter.
And then he had a daughter. Yeah. And so I remember I was looking at these pictures going, okay, all these women he lives with now hate his guts.
Yeah.
They now hate his guts. And women, they don't disguise it so good. You know what I mean? He's just going to be in big trouble for a long time at that house around all the ladies who ain't forgiven and ain't forgetting anytime soon. And then I was looking at him and I go, God damn, because he has 3 daughters and through his wife. And I'm like, it would be so cool to be Dave Grohl's son. You know what I mean?
Like the one.
Just the one sitting in the giant rockin' party chair that he stole from Game of Thrones and just going out for sound check. Like who, you know, as a young dude, who better than Dave Grohl to be your dad? Now, look, it's good for a daughter, but I think it's even cooler for a dude. And I think the dude would cut dad some slack. Like, you know, like at some point he'd go into little Johnny's room at 9 and go, I know you heard, and I know you people have been talking, but that's rock and roll. And the son would give a thumbs up to dad. And also the son could kind of get it where he'd go, like Dave Grohl could go, I'm not proud of what I did on the road, but daddy being on the road is why you live in a $22 million house in Malibu. You understand that, son? And he'd go, I understand, Papa. And I don't judge. And then as a dad to a son, I would also go, and by the way, just in case you think I'm a bad dude, why don't you just Google Led Zeppelin and road antics from the 70s? And I think you'll see some real debauchery there versus
He could have been faithful, but then they would have been living in Victorville.
They would be in Victorville in a double wide.
Oh, my God.
That's it. Those are your choices. That's right. The son would understand. So I was
get it.
I was like, man, he's got the 3 daughters and the wife. They're all living under the same roof, and this is going to be real fucking painful for a long time. And then I looked it up, and I was like, oh, no, the newborn's a woman, too. She will grow up to resent Papa because she was the love child and born because he was screwing around. Now he's got 4. Oh, no, wait. 5. He's got the baby mama.
Yeah.
He's got 5 women who all hate his guts, and that's it. That's it. There's no more. He can rock all he wants. He can sell out Wembley. He can do whatever he wants. He's fucked.
Where does the baby mama live, have they said?
I haven't heard anything about the baby mama.
Isn't she younger?
No, she's in her 60s.
No, okay. No, I mean like really young.
They used IVF.
Really
they used IVF. They were struggling. Yes. Yeah, she had a hysterectomy, and so they had to.
She's no longer with us.
They had to get a surrogate. Yes, I'm going younger. I'm
I
going
meant like really younger.
14.
No, not that.
Not that.
young.
I know. I'm insulting on the extreme.
It's cool that he took accountability, but it's not cool that it happened. And then it makes you wonder how long has it been happening with how many other women.
That would be
this?
that would be a question. I would also say he's still got some lead in the pencil because he's 55. So you know what I mean.
He looks good.
Swimmers are working at 55. Number one.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, I don't know how old she is. It'd be interesting to figure it out. She's allegedly 20. Seems about right.
Really?
Pregnant at 19. So you know.
That daughter on the right looks like she just heard about the new baby. Like she just is finding out in this moment.
I was
what?
looking at these celebrity pictures, but not them, their kids, and they walk the red carpet and they put the pictures up, and a lot of the times the kids look shitty and miserable. And it's like, you're going to see a Disney film that your dad did the voice of. What's with the puss? You know what I mean? Like you're 9. Fucking paint on a smile. They do not. I think it's like Nepo baby raised certain way.
Yeah.
It's just always disgruntled. If you took a picture of me when I was 11, walking the red carpet for a Disney film my dad's in, I'd be like, hey. And I wouldn't be like, There's a lot of scowling in these when you see. It's not the parents, like when you see, you go back 20 years. You got, it's Demi Moore and Bruce Willis. They're smiling. They understand the game. The paparazzi, walking the carpet, smile at the camera. See the kids sometimes next to them.
Have you brought your kids on a red carpet?
Yeah.
I want to see those photos.
I rolled them up in the shit. Brought them back like a pig in a blanket.
Have you ever passed by like just a really nice sushi restaurant during the day and there's a big family eating like an amazing expensive sushi lunch at like noon on a Tuesday? I was like, that never happened with my family. It's like none of us are going out to spend $300 on
lunch. Saturday night on your birthday. If your birthday was on a Saturday night. No,
Maybe.
Nothing.
Just seeing these kids out at like Katana, I was just like, wait, what's happening here?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Sorry.
What?
I know. No, I have what you have with sushi. I have the same thing where it's Tuesday and it's noon and people just chillaxing, eating sushi. I want to do the same thing at a Starbucks when people are just chilling. Like, I want to go in, it's Wednesday, it's the middle of the day. I'm going, what the fuck's going on? Why aren't we at work? What's happening?
They're probably warm-ups.
What are we doing?
Are you there too?
Everyone does a warm-up.
They're all warm-up
American
comics.
Gladiator.
You're there too, though.
All right, so allegedly one of the friends of the daughter, so Dave Grohl.
Oh.
No.
Oh, I didn't know that was a thing now.
Oh, that makes it even worse.
Yeah, and then
Oh.
allegedly daughter's friend, and also
The young one?
Oh,
she's
God.
9. I don't know. Could have been her older friend. Maybe. Listen, I like to give people credit for coming out and being forthright, which we do a lot of. There's also a version of it where the person was going to come out and say something, and so you kind of beat them to the punch. Because here's the thing with being forthright. I don't know. I think you two could speak to this. If I'm saying, look, I like honesty and I like truth and I like being forthright. But if I knew there was a 1,000% guarantee that nobody would ever find out about whatever misdeed this was, I'm not so fucking forthright. It's only when I think, this is going to hit TMZ Monday that I become forthright on Friday. Mm-hmm. That's kind of what I'm thinking. You have to give him the benefit of the doubt, but I'm assuming he knew,
Something was coming.
God, and then when she told him she was pregnant, there had to be a discussion about what would it take to get this to go away, right?
Yeah, I mean,
I would imagine, right?
I mean, it's crazy. I mean, well, by the way, I mean, I hate to backtrack, but we were talking about the Michael Richards thing. Do you realize like how old that was? And like the video that the guy took sold to TMZ for like $100. Like, what would Michael Richards have paid for that video?
Oh, double.
Would pay
Maybe more. Well, maybe more. Maybe triple. I'm just saying. Yeah, no, I'm always. I'm always amazed at stuff that is like just nothing. Like it's like talking about, what you could have got Apple stock for in 1981?
Right.
50 cents.
Yeah.
Where you just go, fuck. Yeah. And yes, Michael Richards would have given the guy a Rolls Royce and a condo, and it would have been the best investment he ever made in his life.
Literally, it was on a flip phone, and you just somebody sold it for $100. Yeah.
That's it? Wow, that's
it was
crazy.
nothing. Yeah.
That's crazy. Also, allegedly, Dave Grohl hired a divorce lawyer before coming out with this news, which is interesting because his whole statement was like, I'm going to work on forgiveness. And so what's that about?
Well, your statement can't be lawyer up, bitch. And next time I'll pull out. It's got to be, crafted.
Okay.
Is all I'm saying. Oh, boy.
He looks like the only happy one in that picture, actually.
Yeah.
The wife is stunning. She's gorge.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Boys being boys. The idea that he can't shit out a boy.
Shit out?
Yeah. It's the vernacular we use. Okay. I just feel like there's enough bro code. First off, if he had like a 14-year-old son, he could probably find some common ground for banging the older daughter's friend because they'd have a conversation where they'd be like, son, your sister's older friend, Cammie? And the son would go, yeah, she's a piece of ass. Mm-hmm. Good. Glad you thought so too.
Well, but he's got a couple of other daughters, so I mean, there could be a chance that maybe he knocks up another friend of the daughter and there's a boy. I mean, there's still opportunity.
This is Hollywood. This is Hollywood. He's got 4 girls. One of them's got a transition. I mean, statistically, Hollywood, 2024, literally impossible. And I bet one's going to transition now. You know what I mean? Because
quick,
she got pushed. All right. So there's that. The other thing I was thinking about, I'm always thinking about the stuff we care about and the stuff we don't really care about as a sort of society. You brought up your noontime sushi affair.
Yeah.
And I've always kind of said everyone who I know, if you said, let's go get some noon sushi in town on a Tuesday, and we started walking into the sushi place, and the sushi place had a big bee hanging in the window from the food taster guy or whatever, the cleanliness company or whatever that was, a bee. A lot of people I know go, yeah, let's find another place to eat sushi, or let's get something somewhere else. I don't like that bee hanging there. But I have said that same person at night, after we spill out of the Staples Center, after watching the Foo Fighters rock and pounding a few beers, stumble across the illegal making hot dogs on the shopping cart, and we get 3 of them. Right? So
I love those.
Right.
They're
and the
so good.
same person that would not do the bee will eat the guy who's cooking out of a modified shopping cart with an illegal and a bunch of fucking hot dogs in a primered van in the back. No health inspector, mayonnaise, been out in the sun for a day.
Yep.
We'll fucking gobble that shit down. So we are kind of wired in an inconsistent way, is what I'm saying. And I was thinking about that today because I was staring at my neck pillow, the travel airplane neck pillow, which I don't use very consistently. I miss it every time I fly, and I forget it all the time. But I realize the thing is made of some sort of faux velour. It's not the kind of, it's not pleather. It's not the kind of thing you can just shoot with Windex and wipe down. It's porousy, Then I realize I, like many, end up just snapping it to the handle of the duffel bag or the backpack, and it goes on the journey. And it goes on the journey. It goes through the metal detector at the airport, dragging along the conveyor belt. It gets thrown in the back of the Uber. It's got to be more disgusting than a prison sponge in terms of like what is on that thing after the Southwest flight goes onto the ground where your feet are on the Southwest flight with the backpack, and then you stuff, and then you pop it off, and you put it around your neck like a bow tie, and then you put your face on it, and nobody ever has any protocols for it or keeps it in a Ziploc bag or goes, you need to, hit that thing with Purell. We don't have 2 thoughts about it. Now, we go to the bathroom in the airport or the plane, and we open the door with our sleeve because we don't want to get insurance. But the fucking Neck pillow, that's a petri dish of disease from all around, from the airport to the Uber to the hotel to the floor. It's on the tile all the time. Like when you check in, you put your backpack down, it falls over, and this thing's just sitting on the tile floor at the Holiday Inn. Nobody says shit about that. No one says it got sick of it. No one was like, well, you know what happened with COVID? Some guy in China, you had a neck pillow. And he didn't sanitize it properly. We just have no thoughts. I'll borrow someone else's neck pillow. It doesn't matter. Why no neck pillow?
Can I
Thoughts.
just
And
say-
my thoughts about, we take water bottles and go, oh, you got to hit them with UV light because it starts to get stuff, bacteria starts to grow. And now, nothing with a neck pillow. Never heard anything about a neck pillow.
I find it hard to believe you're flying Southwest. I'm going to be honest. There's no way.
Now, listen
You're
to me.
private. You're flying
I'm a man
private.
of the people.
You're very successful.
I'm a man of the people. There is Burbank Airport
Yes.
is 1,000 times better than LAX for 1,000 reasons that all involve your time.
Yes.
And if you're going to Vegas a lot, that's about it. And if you got a show in Boise on a Friday night and you want to get out of Burbank, that's about it. That's the flight you're taking.
I see David Spade on a lot of Southwest flights.
Do you really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
that's
do?
funny.
Yeah, he flies Southwest. Yeah, I've seen him on a couple.
Yeah, I think it's just a I think it's a convenient. Oh, well, it's not a convenience thing. It's like, look, you're up in the air. You're going to Vegas. You're up in the air for 39 and a half minutes,
Right.
and that's about it. And you want to leave Burbank, so slum it.
What about JetX suites? Wouldn't that be kind of a better, like that? That's kind of a private-y thing.
No,
that?
Jet X suites are much better.
Yeah.
Jet Suite X, yeah, but 1,000 times better.
Yes, but
Yeah.
you're right. Going to LAX is an absolute disaster.
All right, pillow thoughts.
Well, I'm surprised you care because not to call you out.
I don't care.
You don't use soap.
I don't care. I didn't say I cared. I'm saying
Oh, okay.
nobody says
What's the
shit.
soap
Everyone says shit about. No one says shit
you're
about
totally
neck
right.
pillows, and everyone says everything about everything else.
You're totally right.
They have these these studies all the time. Your computer keyboard has more bacteria on it than a subway toilet. There's never any neck pillow talk.
On your phone, yeah.
Women give you a lot of speeches, but you got to wipe stuff down and
Yeah.
you got to do stuff and open the bathroom door. Use your foot to open the door. Don't put your hand on the thing. And if you do, you got to wipe. You got to wash it up. No neck pillow talk.
Well, what
That's
about
all I'm saying.
washing it? You can wash it. Put it in-
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
the
going
washer?
to.
But
No, I'm
someone-
not
someone
asking
could.
how to get it clean. I'm just saying there's no talk. That's all.
You're right. There's no talk.
All right. And we'll keep that streak alive. All right. So you got some news. Should we take a break? Yes, I think we'll do that. I think we'll take a break, and then Leah's going to do some news, and then we'll crack wise, Gary and I, and we'll do that. Oh, no, you don't. No boom boom cannon for you, huh, Gary?
What do you mean?
You just said somebody would call you boom boom.
Larry Bubbles Brown from San Francisco. Legendary comics, been doing comedy 50 years. That was his nickname for me.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know why I called you
No, I have no clue. No.
Well,
is there something to it?
that? Yeah.
What is it?
Well, I guess boom boom cannon is like a cannon would go boom.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that part we've done.
Oh.
done. Oh, didn't do that math?
No, but I didn't consider that.
What if your last name is Bazooka? And he said, Gary Boom Boom Bazooka. Would you do the boom
And by
boom?
the way, I know you're not staying at a Holiday Inn either.
I'll stay whatever's closest to the airport.
Really?
I just got done staying at wherever next to the Portland airport because I had a gig in Oregon and it was like an hour and a half from Portland and had an 8 a.m. flight out of Portland and just stayed at whatever the closest. I'll stay wherever
Oh.
the closest, cheapest. I grew up on a cot mattress on a floor in the San Fernando Valley on a service porch, man. I'll fucking slum it. So I don't enjoy it, but I'll do it.
Convenience.
Boom, boom, cannon.
Yes.
All right, so you didn't do the cannon part.
No.
But when a guy with the middle name of Bubbles
Right.
Bubbles.
dubs you with a middle name of Boom Boom,
Yes.
you got to investigate.
I know. I don't know why I didn't, but maybe because I haven't seen him in so much. It's been a long time, and then you brought it up again today. So I was like, oh, that's kind of an interesting callback to when Larry would call me that when I started comedy in San Francisco.
Yeah. You know what you don't want to be? You don't want to be a legendary comedian that no one's heard of.
oh.
That's. I'm going to give my son that speech when I'm telling him to go the warm-up route. Or you could be a legendary comedian who nobody's heard of. And That's the saddest.
He's well respected.
That's the saddest position of all to be in. Have you heard of Larry Bubbles Brown?
I can't say I have.
Oh,
but I love the name Bubbles.
It's great,
I think it's
right?
adorable.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, you don't want to be a legendary comedian that nobody's heard of. That's what you just don't want to be that.
Or well liked and unsuccessful. That's the other. Hey, everybody loves that guy. Never heard
Right.
of him.
Yeah. Now, Boom Boom Cannon.
Yes.
And I'm guessing he's connected the cannon to the Boom Boom, but there is an original Boom Boom Cannon.
Oh.
No one. Freddie Boom Boom Cannon.
Okay.
Never heard of it?
Nope.
It's weird. I always wonder. It's sort of like sometimes I'd run into some woman and she'd be like, I go, "What's your name?" She'd go, "Angie," and I'd be like, "Oh, like the Rolling Stones song." And she'd go, "What?" I'd go, "Angie,
know.
the Rolling Stones song." No, it's your dad never sung it to you or something like that. Like, no, don't know what you're talking
was
about.
also
Like,
a-
how do you go through?
I
I'm
don't
always
know that
curious.
song.
Is your name Angie?
No.
Okay.
There was also a Freddie Boom Boom Washington from the TV show What's Happening.
That is very true.
Remember that?
No,
Yeah.
that was Welcome Back, Kotta.
Oh, you're right. Right. Who was the What's Happening is the rerun.
You did a black simile there. you mix up your black people. Just call it what it is. Freddie Boom Boom Cannon, I think, had a hit called Palisades Park. Is that correct? I'm not even. I don't want to look at the screen. This was Freddie Boom
This is
Boom
him.
Cannon's only hit, as far as I knew.
Feel like we should be tossing around a beach ball.
Yes.
It's so I lost my virginity to this song. No. Could you imagine?
Well, isn't this his biggest hit?
Yes.
Oh, you don't have it on the
So if you
screen,
would go to
Jeff.
see a guy like this in concert, would he open with this or close with it?
Oh, yes. The answer is yes.
To both.
To both.
He opens and closes with it.
That is I would.
Okay.
He made middle a feature with it too. I think Freddie Boom Boom Cannon does this at the opening and the close.
He's got to come
plays
out
it on
open with
loop.
this. And then maybe when he closes with it, it's like an extended reverb of it, right?
It's not going to be exactly same
Right.
as the beginning one.
Yeah.
Or he's dead, which
Oh,
could be
yeah.
a possibility.
Yeah.
So. Now he's alive.
He's dead with Larry Bubbles Brown career. I know. Well, listen.
Why?
Oh, but
Why
it's
do you
okay
have
when
to
you
go
make
there? So who else can we bring up that Leah's never heard of? We got Freddie Boom Boom Cannon
Yeah, who
over
else we
here.
got?
We got Larry Bubbles Brown. What was he? Oh, he's 83 years young. You wrote Tallahassee Lassie, I think, on there. That was a kind of a minor hit for him. That was stupid, but you can hear it.
This another song by this guy?
Yeah.
He opens with this.
Woo!
He's got to open with this.
She got a hi-fi chassis. Woo!
Maybe looks a little sassy,
Woo!
but to me she's
got-
real classy.
The best of Freddie
This is like
Cannon.
a children's book.
Down in FLA.
This is his other hit. Yeah.
Well, she rocked
Well, how many songs are on the best of album? I mean, that's insane.
Just one.
Yeah.
Palisades Park,
It's a
number
4-minute
one.
CD.
Tallahassee Lassie. Right. I know his canon. Pardon the pun.
Ah, I like that.
Thank you. And I don't know what the number 3 song, Abigail Beecher, was or whatever. Way Down Yonder, New Orleans. Maybe
Way Down Yonder in New Orleans and Palisades Park both went to number 3 in the U.S.
Ooh.
Way Down Yonder in New Orleans also went to 3 in the U.K. Palisades Park only went to 20 there.
Wow. That's another hit of his. In New Orleans. Yeah, every song sounded
the
the same,
same
but
song.
they're
Yeah.
all the same. Look, Chuck Berry did the same song times 11. Every one of his songs was the same. That's how they did it. This is what these Freddie Boom Boom Cannon.
Do you think this is the most talk about Freddie Cannon in the last 30 years? I mean, he's got to be excited right
He's
now.
legendary.
Well, you got to listen to Alyssa Milano's podcast. You'll hear it a lot.
Really?
Yeah, I don't want to. We're kind of derivative. She does it first. She did it first, and
Oh, she did.
yeah, pretty whole episode.
with the beautiful queen. Yeah, way down yonder in New Orleans.
All right.
We need bathing suits.
Listen, I'm not telling you what to do, Gary, but you
Okay.
better get the best of Freddie Boom Boom Cannon.
Listen.
And apologize to Larry Bubbles Brown for giving
For
him the
not
blank
researching
slate
it?
when
Yes.
he gave you the middle name.
Yes. I should have done research after he told me
Because
that.
Larry was definitely making the Freddie Boom Boom
Yes,
reference.
I bet
think,
it
with
was.
you. Yeah.
I do owe him a call now, if he's
Yeah.
still around.
Yeah, don't tell him what I
Yes.
said.
Okay, well.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back with the news right after this. Simply Safe. We got to love me some Simply Safe. I've used it. I've trusted it. I've recommended it for years. They've been with us longer than almost any sponsor. And I've partnered with them to offer my listeners peace of mind and 50% off. Just visit simplysafe.com/Adam. Again, you go online, you set up the system you need. You know how many sensors and cameras and whatnot. You get all set up. It's sent to you, and you set it up yourself. You do in a half an hour, and if you move, you take the system with you. They have exclusive 24/7 lifeguard protection. Simply Safe agents can act within 5 seconds of receiving your alarm and can even see and speak to intruders inside of your home. Install and activate in less than an hour. This is the brand we go with. It's Simply Safe. 2 eyes in there, right, Dawson?
Get 50% off a new Simply Safe system plus free indoor security camera with Fast Protect monitoring. Just visit simplysafe.com/Adam to claim this discount. That's simplysafe.com/Adam. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
I love going out to dinner because you walk into the restaurants here in LA and you see the celebrity headshots up in the restaurant. I walked into one restaurant not too long ago. There was a headshot up of Eric Estrada. Yeah, who remembers that loser from the 70s? Anybody? By round of applause? Hey, if you clap loud enough, he'll come out from our kitchen and say hello. Let me tell you folks this. F you, people. Seriously. I walked up to the photo. I wanted to see what he wrote. I thought it'd be something cute or clever. I was wrong. It was actually a note from the staff, and it said, "Do not accept checks from this man."
Gary Cannon is on the Adam Carolla Show.
Boom, boom in the house.
Where was that clip pulled from? Wow.
It is weird when they play clips and you're like,
Yeah.
I don't even remember doing that, or where was that from?
Oh, I've been doing the same act for the last 20 years, so I know that joke.
Oh, there you go.
You got to keep it clean, though, when you're doing the warm-up.
Most shows, of
Really?
course. Yeah, but there's some shows that you can be a little risque. Certain,
Really?
like adult sitcoms, of course. Yeah.
So you're doing warm-up like on the set of a porn. you could go a
Can be
little
a little dirtier.
PG-13.
Yeah.
Go blue.
Fluffer.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can pull it off.
Fluffer.
By the way, I do want to tell, because I've told Dr. Drew this story, which I thought was great, but I was doing warm-up on a show. He had a morning show for a little bit, and
Drew did.
Dr. Drew did, and he had, it was all paid audience, because it was at like 9 in the morning out in the valley, and they brought me in. They were looking for somebody full-time. They were auditioning me and 3 other people, and I needed the gig bad. So they said, the audience has been dead. You got to really do what you need to do to get them up, hyped and going. So before the show started, I said, hey guys, I have gift cards for whoever is the most enthusiastic during Act 1. Not realizing that when Dr. Drew comes out, he says, I want you to meet Shelley. She was attacked and brutally injured behind, like literally this sad story about how she was left for dead behind a dumpster. And literally the paid audience members aren't listening. They're smiling, thinking about a $5 Starbucks gift card.
Right.
They don't. They're tuning him out. And I'm just hearing, what the hell is going on with this audience that they're not paying attention? Like, but they're just thinking about how they're going to pay for dinner later.
Right.
And that was my last day.
Oh, no. Oh, my gosh.
They showed Boom Boom the door.
Because, I mean, those people that get paid, they're the dregs. I mean, it's really...
They go down to the methadone clinic, pull the bus up, clean them out, drag them
They're
over.
eating dinner at Arco. I mean, the Arco station, that's what they're doing. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, it's different. If you do a show like the Man Show, you get your audience. They tailgate.
Yes.
They show up. It's a party. It's an event. It's like a whole
Yes.
frat house. They're pumped.
Yes.
Totally there to see you versus the methadone clinic for the daytime thing. And it also shows that just start. There's no following. You know?
There's no following. They bust them in. It's a lot of rehab groups, church groups,
Yeah.
college kids. I remember my very first warm-up gig was on the Late Late Show with Craig Kilborn, and I remember always hearing, if you get a group there from UCLA baseball, they will be atrocious. And I remember first day out, just auditioning for the show, hoping to God I got the gig. Any groups here? just a bunch of 19-year-old steroid. I was like, where are you guys from? They're like UCLA baseball. I was like, we're done. They're just because they're gonna fake laugh and they're just gonna be jerks and it's just gonna be a big pain in the ass. And somehow I got through that, managed to just keep going, and then ended up doing other gigs. It was great. Do you remember Brody Stevens, obviously?
Yes.
Yeah, Brody and I were in competition to do the Carson Daly show. And what happened was, because I needed that Carson gig
Hold on,
bad.
you know Brody Stevens?
Yeah, I know Brody.
You don't know Larry
He's
Bubbles
the
Brown?
best. No.
No,
Sorry.
Brody-
But
no.
Brody Stevens is legendary.
Legendary.
He was so funny. I miss him on the regular.
Yeah.
I liked him as well. And he was a good softball
Yeah.
player, but I did play softball. I liked him, but I would hesitate. I would say if somebody meets a tragic demise, we shouldn't elevate them to,
Sure. Oh, they're...
a certain status comedically is what I'm. That's what I'm going to say.
Well, I will say-
a very nice guy.
Him
who
and I
wish
were
was still around.
competing for the last call of Carson Daly job, and I needed it bad because I wanted to leave the Late Late Show. And I remember Carson was filming 2 test shows in one day. I did the first one, Brody was doing the second one, same audience. And as I was leaving, the audience said, hey, we'll see you in a few minutes. We're coming back in. We're doing the second show. And I said, hey, guys, I'm not doing the warm-up. Another guy's coming in. But I will tell you, just a note from the producers, you guys were way too loud, way too hyper for the first show.
Bring it
so
down.
really pull it back.
Stop.
I threw him under the bus because
Oh
I needed
my
that gig so bad.
And then he threw himself under the bus. Are you happy? Boom, boom.
You did it.
I literally got that gig.
All right. News. What news do we
Wow.
have?
Jon Bon Jovi convinces a woman not to jump off a bridge in Nashville. Rock legend Jon Bon Jovi had the magic words to help one woman in distress Tuesday evening, seemingly convincing the stranger not to jump off a bridge. Here's what went down. The It's My Life singer was filming a music video for his song People's House on the John Seigenthaler, I don't know how to say that, pedestrian bridge in Music City around 6 p.m. when JBJ noticed a woman in need of help. That's amazing.
Yeah. Wanted alive or alive. Yeah. I remember I was pretty down and out for a while, and a guy from Winger saved me. I wasn't on the same bridge, obviously, different bridge.
I had a story, but with the
In
band from
Nashville, just
Kajagoogoo.
nearby. Yeah, you had that guy save you?
Too shy.
Too shy not to save your ass. Boom Boom's doing a cannonball into the drink, everybody.
Where's the lead singer from Kajagoogoo?
Oh, man, you are just leaving money on the table, not having the cannonball with the Boom Boom
You think
at the
that's the
pool
branding,
party. It's the Boom Booms.
Huh.
Look, you'd be invited to every backyard barbecue and pool party in this town.
Would I get
because they'd be-
invited to the party house on Ben Street? Would that allow me? Or that house isn't there anymore?
It got sold, but you would be forced to do a cannonball in every pool
Forced.
because Boom Boom's got to do the cannonball.
This would be my corporate kind of
Yes.
thing.
It'd be your get her done or
Yeah.
Here
there-
comes the boom.
yeah
Are you ready for the boom?
yeah it'd be your signature thing. People would know you for it.
I think if I could really brand this, it would be my way to go from buying instead of renting. I think I really could make that move.
You like to go to buying,
Yes,
not
rather
from
than
buying.
renting.
But
Yes,
you
yes,
like
yes.
to you get from renting to buying.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
I think that
Yeah.
could be. It may be in
When you have a
Victorville.
real signature handle,
Yeah.
you don't rent.
No. No.
You know what I
No.
mean?
The house that Boom Boom built.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like no one
nobody-
ever goes, which apartment unit is Floyd Money Mayweather at? It's
What
not, he
unit?
owns the building. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Does
They
he have the
don't-
courtyard view or the street view?
Yeah,
No.
it's a single. Yeah, it doesn't, middle name gets you right out of renting.
Well, you
Gets
have,
you into owner.
you have many nicknames. Which one is like the one for you, and how did you get it?
Well,
Ace?
I get called Ace. Ace by Jimmy will call me Ace, and certain guys will call me Ace. Real old school could be Ad, just short for Adam. But Ace has always been a nickname.
What's
for
the
me.
ace come from?
I really, it's just short. I don't know. It's some version of Adam. And that's-
Really? Oh, I thought it was because AC.
Oh, maybe it's that. I haven't looked into it. Larry Bubbles Brown told me when we were at Flappers
Ace.
many years ago, but I couldn't remember.
Wait, you're making fun that I didn't know Boom Boom? The ace seems so obvious. That seems so obvious.
I just got called Adam Ace Carolla. I just get called Ace. I didn't know why they. I mean, I called Ace because the A and the C is in there, and then Adam is in
Leah,
there.
wouldn't you think
you
Ace was
never
more
asked.
obvious than Boom Boom?
Yeah.
Obviously, right?
Well, I didn't investigate because it fit.
This is so funny, but he also
Yeah,
didn't.
yelling at me.
I don't know the origin stories of Ace, but I did not have someone bestow it upon me and then talk to them about it. It's Adam and Carolla are pretty close to Ace. Also, Ace could be short for Adam or some version of Adam, Ace and Adam. So
Do you
I
play poker?
left it at that. No.
Oh, okay.
So I left it at that. Let's not lump me in with Boom Boom over here. What you did's a
Sorry.
fucking middle name disgrace.
Sorry. Next.
Sure.
All right. Jogger left bloodied, dazed, and crying after getting mauled by a gang of otters.
Ooh.
A woman
Yeah.
was left crying in a pool of her own blood after getting savaged by a gang of otters in Malaysia. The unidentified victim had reportedly been jogging through Tanjung Aru Recreation Park in Sabah when she was beset by eight of the beasts. Bible Press
I had an
reported.
uncle that was killed by otters, so this is tough
No,
for me.
It's tough to see it.
It's tough to have to relive,
that's an otter tragedy.
Bernie. It is.
Thank you.
It is.
Accompanying thanks. I'm getting claps in the
Who
booth.
fucking knew otters were weaponized?
That is brutal.
I thought otters were cute. I thought that
They are.
Don't they float on their back and open shells like with their little hands while they're floating on their back?
That's
Does that otter work?
I'm not trying to downplay this, but if she was attacked by 8, right? It looks like the damages would be worse. This
That's
doesn't
not
look-
enough blood for you,
Well,
Gary?
I don't think that this is that. She looks like she could walk away and be fine.
She just
Is
looks
this-
like a 6 otter attack to
No,
me.
look at her. Either her leggings are tie dye or that's also blood. No, that's a lot of
Did
blood.
Jon Bon Jovi come in to save her?
I just didn't. You got to go out and take those otters out now, right? Somebody's got to go.
I mean, yeah. How did they Why were they running so loose?
You got to take them out though. Like otter hunter has to go out and.
Are they
got
known
a
in that
bad otter.
area? Is that the kind of the thing? Are they known in that little park that she was at?
They certainly are now.
There is a video of. There's a video of it.
Oh, really?
Of her being
Yeah,
attacked?
I don't know if we wanna
But
play
is she
it, but-
filming it?
There can't be a video of
There's
it.
a video.
They're
There's
saying
a
no.
video
There's a video of her being attacked by otters.
of the otters coming out, like a gang, coming out to attack.
Might that just be stock otter video?
No, these are
Yeah,
the otters.
Joe's saying it's.
Those are the same otters that. How do you know those otters are the ones that attacked her? Is what I'm saying.
The subtitle here says the otters fled the scene in the aftermath of the
Fled the
attack.
scene.
I know, but sometimes they'll do when they make a documentary or a movie or something, and they'll go 1967, the band landed in Los Angeles, and they show footage of a
Right.
jet plane landing, but they're not
TWA.
necessarily on that plane.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. This is just footage of a plane
This
from
says
1967.
Accompanying footage shows the water weasel
Wow.
octet fleeing the scene after the attack.
Well, I tried to defend my crack team as
Your
long
otters
as I could,
crack
but
team.
sorry, there's footage of it that we evidently didn't know existed or denied existed.
Uh-oh.
So let's
Here
see
we
what that
go.
looks like. Thank
oh,
you.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Distressing content.
Okay, we see him coming.
They don't move that fast, but they're
Well-
fast. I mean, I feel like I could get away from them.
Well, why wouldn't you jump on a car or something like that? I mean, it looks like. Well, there's no way that they're going to show them now attacking her because Oh, see, yeah.
Okay.
All right, but there's
Cut to-
footage of
Yeah.
them leaving the crime scene. It would seem like you could jump on the roof of a car and
Yeah.
otters could get you. But on
Jump
the
it
other
up.
hand, if you're just going down a trail and you're not looking,
It's crazy.
then the otters could get you. All
Are these
right.
river otters or sea otters?
I'm going river.
Probably. It seems a little more white trash, right? They're going to be more violent, the river otters.
Yeah, I feel like the river otters could be intoxicated.
After they're going to go to Glamis.
Yeah. That's a
Crazy.
rowdier otter. The sea otter's a more majestic,
I think
peaceful
so. Yeah.
otter.
Man.
They
Yeah.
live in San Bernardino.
It's funny because
Sun Valley.
the sea is tranquil, and the sea is like where you go to get your thoughts together, and it puts you in a better mood.
Yeah.
The river gets you drunk and fired up and angry. The river makes you want to fight, and the sea makes you want to just sort of lay down and find your inner self. They're both just bodies of water. But the river makes you want to get drunk and like punch someone on a jet ski.
You're right.
And the ocean makes you want to just be one with God and nature, right?
So crazy. Yeah, if you thought she looked bad, you should see the otter guy.
Ah, that's good.
Thanks.
They're out of control.
Nice. I like
A group of otters called a romp.
Oh, I've had a
So
romp
I've
before.
learned. All right. What else we got?
NYPD officer lands $175,000 settlement over, quote, courtesy cards that help drivers get out of traffic stops. A New York City police officer has reached a settlement with the city in a lawsuit that illuminated the use of the courtesy cards that officers dole out to friends and relatives to get out of traffic stops and other minor infractions, according to an agreement filed in Manhattan federal court on Monday.
Yeah, I remember that you would hand those with your license, like, "Hey, I'm a friend of the force" or something like that.
Yes.
But why is he? I don't get the lawsuit.
So
is.
he did not like honor them basically, and so he won a settlement being like,
because he was like, they said he's like, look, I'm a straight edge cop. I don't honor these gift cards you give to your buddies, so then get out of their speeding tickets with me.
Yes.
And then he got probably blackballed at the precinct or got shit in the locker room.
Yes.
And rightfully so, by the way.
He said, quote, "It's a form of corruption. My approach to how I handle them is not going to change, even if some boss is going to try to punish me."
Just take the card, Serpico. Jesus fucking Christ. I get it.
Do you notice, like, that I've seen these videos over and over again where, like, there's a mayor of a small town that's on a golf cart that gets pulled over, and he or she will say, "Hey, I'm the mayor of the blah, blah," and the video goes viral, and they force the person to resign. Are people shocked by that? Like, I'm surprised that there's not that courtesy of, like, hey, it happens all the time. But I guess when it's caught on video, they're forcing them to.
When people are disgusted by behavior that every human being would engage in, that's the part they act like so appalled. You know what I mean? Like, yes, if I was the mayor of the fucking city and I got a DUI, I'd let the cop know that I was the mayor of the city.
Of course.
That would be the attempt. And that's part of the reason why you want to become the mayor of the cities, for little perks like getting out of speeding tickets.
That's what you do.
And DUI. So there's that. I get where he's coming from, but you know what I think this guy's got a grift.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
What is it?
I think this guy's been stealing kilos of cocaine and heroin from the evidence room for a long time. But he doesn't want to get caught. So he makes a big stink about, listen, when I swore an oath to this city, I didn't swear an oath to help out your frat buddy Ernie, who got pulled over on the fucking expressway. I don't care what this. I don't care if this seems like nothing to you. To me, it's corruption of the highest order. Now you're never going to accuse that guy stealing a kilo of cocaine from the evidence room. It's like, not that guy. He's the straightest fucking. He won't even take the gift card. He won't even do the thing everyone will do. You know, there's no way he's getting into that evidence room and stealing those kilos. That's got to be somebody else.
That's
right?
That would
it's a
be
good ruse,
scam.
right?
Yeah.
It would be good.
It's a distraction.
Yeah.
It's
It's more of a like, it's like if you saw some neighbor and they were chewing gum, and then you realize, and you saw a neighbor, and he was like walking his dog down the sidewalk, and he was chewing gum, and you're like, he didn't spit the gum out onto the lawn or in the street or whatever. You saw him bend over and pick up like a wrapper for a candy bar, and then you see him put the gum in the candy bar wrapper and wrap it up and then put it in his pocket, right? And then later on, you realize somebody stole your brand new Ultra hose that was out front of your house. And you go, one of these fucking neighbors stole my hose. And you go, what about that guy over there with his dog? And you go, no, not him. He does the gum. He's super considerate. He would never. He wouldn't steal the hose. He wouldn't put his gum. He wouldn't spit his gum out. He's not. No, that guy's off the list. That's what that guy's doing with the kilos. Okay.
Okay.
I would immediately look into this guy.
Well, I do want to read this little part. It says, the final straw came when he issued a ticket to a driver who turned out to be a friend of the NYPD's highest-ranking uniformed officer in the summer of 2022. Then he said he was promptly ousted from his job in the department's traffic unit and relegated to night patrol duties.
Oh.
Look, sorry, that's the code. Also, you know what? You should get some shit. Like, I went and did a benefit for the highway patrol or whatever, and they gave me a little star to put on my license or whatever. And it's like, but it's like, hey, bitches, you're not doing benefits for free for the highway patrol and they're fallen officers or whatever. Like, I did something. I could burn some calories, you know, a little something, something.
Did it work? Did you ever get pulled over and have the star?
I haven't gotten pulled over. No, sorry. I've been pulled over quite a bit, or a fair amount, much as the next guy. I've got out of most everything as an adult, mostly probably because of the Man Show, and those people that was the demo for the Man Show. So there was some of that. Others by just being as nice as I could possibly be, and I didn't go Tyreek Hill on these guys.
Okay.
I just went super friendly, as nice as I could be, mixed with the little, seen you. I've been let out of the last probably 10 times. I've been pulled over. I got pulled over on PCH 2 years ago, and the guy walked up and he looked at me and he looked around and he goes, buy any new cars? And I was like, I'm out of this. I'm out of this. He
That's
knows I got
cool.
cars. He knows he's a car guy.
But did you have the star present or no? That's
The star.
He is the star,
The star
baby.
used to be. The star's in the car. Boom, boom.
Boom, boom.
The star was on for a while. It fell off. Mostly
fell off.
the
It was velcroed.
the last time the second to last time I've gotten out last like 10 tickets. The one was
Show
the
a
guy
little leg.
pulled me over in like Ventura County, and he goes, "Where are you coming from?" And I go, "Kevin Costner's house." And he goes, "Oh, okay." He just liked that I was at Costner's house, so he dug that.
Can I just say,
Wow.
you say that you get pulled over just as much as anybody. I've never 10 times. I've only been pulled over like once in the last.
No, I said
that
the
seems-
last 10 times I've been pulled over, but that spans 25 years.
Okay.
I don't mean 10 consecutive
I was like,
days.
wow, that's a lot of. Have you been pulled over a lot?
No,
I never
but
get pulled over.
I'm gonna start saying
Well,
I'm
you
going to
drive
Kevin
like a-
Costner's house.
Yeah.
You're not in a hurry.
Going from it.
Well, yeah, look, it could be 8 times, but I'm just going 10 times because I'm going back 25 years maybe. So if you figure 1.4 times a year or sorry, 0.7 times a year or something, whatever it is. But I'm not getting pulled over 10 times in the last year.
I'm
you ever-
just gonna put a little cute gold star on my driver's license and see what happens.
The time I was speeding the hardest on surface streets and really going 3 times the posted speed limit.
Oops.
I was wearing an LAPD ball cap, and I forgot I had it on. And the guy let me off because I was wearing he was like, he got to the car pissed. Motorcycle cop, fucking angry when he got to the car. Ready to write me a ticket. Angry that I was doing what I was doing, like an exhibition of speed. And then he saw I had an LAPD hat on, and he was like yelling at me. And then he went, "Where'd you get the hat?" And I was like, "Oh shit, I'm wearing my LAPD hat. That's good." So I just went, do a little charity work. You know, that's all. That's nothing big, but I do some charity work
Yeah.
for LAPD. And he said, "What kind of charity work?" And I was like, "Well, you know, golf tournaments, things. No big, nothing big." And he said, "Okay." Let me go. So get an
Wow.
LAPD hat on.
Okay.
And tell me to do a little charity work.
Okay.
The next time I get pulled over,
Or offer him a blowjob. Because for me,
I already do
that's
that.
not really on,
I already
you
do
know,
that.
I give him the hand, but that's not on
the
Hand
next
job?
time I
Yeah.
get pulled over in Victorville, I'll say I'm coming from Larry Bubbles Brown's house. We know Larry.
Yeah, no, now, if you're coming from Victorville, you need
Yeah.
Victorville PD.
Yeah, I mean, maybe
hat.
just have a box of them, and before
I've
they
said
come up
it
to the
many
car.
times. As you get in Orange County, have an Irvine PD. Like, just get the hat that coincides with the place you're in. You'll be good.
What about just a hat that says police? I think that's a generalized hat that could work, right?
Yeah, but they have them in Mexico and Uruguay. It's too generic.
Could look like you're cosplaying too, and then you might get arrested for that.
Yeah, or maybe you love the band.
I think before the cop comes, you go to your trunk, grab the hat that fits that city, and put the star on the back of your bumper, and you're free and clear.
I do think, and I'm going to tell this Joe right now to tell Kyle. get me a California Highway Patrol hat because, like, if you're going to drive to Vegas and you want to go 95, put that chip hat on. They'll kind of recognize me a little bit. And so I can do the claim of, like, I've done a few benefits, you know, just some charity. You know, I hosted a, and then they'll kind of go, oh, yeah, they can look semi-familiar or something. I could sell that to them.
And you should also be listening to the Chips soundtrack in the car.
Well, that's a given. I'm already listening.
But what about once you cross Prim and now you're in Nevada? That CHP hat means nothing.
Take the fucking hat off and
you
put
get
the
a
Nevada
Nevada.
PD hat on.
Joe and Kyle, we need 3 hats total.
Yes, please.
I don't need one for Prim. The Nevada PD.
And you're almost there at that point, right? You're 30 minutes away once you cross into
I
Nevada.
need CHP and then I need Vegas.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
2 hats.
Or Nevada, you know, I don't know, Nevada Highway Patrol.
Would you
or
ever wear the
something?
CHP hat on a Southwest flight? No reason to, but would you do it?
In case the shit went down, you know, I saw some guy
Look like an air marshal.
well, like some guy's pushing on the back of my chair too much, and I just turn around with that thing on and flash the hat, get him to calm down.
Just to call back the Southwest thing, are you like priority A through 15? Or
No.
you check in the 24 hours before?
I don't do anything. I'm like B. I
don't
would
care
say
where you sit.
I do, but I would probably say my Southwest average. If you were to take a grand total, it would end up being B35.
Okay.
That would be the average of when I get
One
on
of
that.
us.
Yeah.
Keeping it real.
Commoners.
Yep, all you commoners who get let off every time you get pulled over.
There was a comic who did a great thing. He was on stage and his alarm went off and he said, "Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. 24 hours from now, I'm taking a Southwest flight. And the truth is, getting a better boarding group is more important than you guys right now." And he's like, "Let me just check in really quick." And then he got
That's
back to the show. It was
so
so great.
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard about that, but I don't make my own travel plans. So
Not one of us.
I don't
No.
do that. But someone else does. But they never have the energy to do that.
Ever done a Spirit Airlines flight?
Yes.
You have? Mm-hmm. And?
Magnificent.
You go big, comfy front seat?
I know. I was just in the back of a Spirit flight, and I was like, I didn't know it got worse, you know, demonstrably worse than Southwest. I didn't know that, but it does.
And Frontier. Frontier's
Yeah,
really bad.
Spirit.
Allegiant.
Yeah, it goes down. Yeah. All right. News story.
Woof. Texas man sentenced to 3 years in prison for kicking a cat like a, quote, a football field goal on video. Texas man was sentenced Tuesday to more than 3 years in federal prison for kicking a cat as if kicking a football field goal in a case of abuse that was recorded and shared on social media.
It's on video, but there's no video of this, I'm told. But once again, maybe we can find it.
I think the question we're answering before even saying it is who wants to watch a video of a
Right.
guy
I
kicking
don't.
a cat? I don't.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh, you know?
I don't. Do you?
What's wrong with you?
I do, and the reason I do is because I bet it's not what we think it is.
Oh, I
Fine.
bet it is.
I can look away.
I bet it's bad.
He kicked it like a football.
Yeah.
Well, there is no. There is no.
I mean,
The cat is then set on fire in the video. Whoa. Well, that I don't want to see.
the cat was foaming at the mouth and convulsing. This is so sad. As
That's
if it had
sad.
been poisoned. Oh, I hate this.
And what happened to the guy?
3 years in prison.
Wow.
I think he should have more.
That's insane.
I take cats very seriously.
I'm a huge animal
but also
person,
just like
yeah.
animals. If you abuse animals,
Well, no, wait. Here's what I'm asking, just for clarity. There is no video.
It's most likely been
different
taken
than
down.
we don't want to see the video, but it's been taken down.
There was a video.
Uh-huh.
We have not found it, most likely because it's been
Scrub.
removed from everything. Because
Okay.
there was a cat on fire being kicked.
Oh,
He
on
posted-
fire being kicked?
Yeah.
Oh, it was on fire. Okay, that's a little different.
okay.
Because he was arrested for kicking a cat initially, but so I was like, all right. But then the cat was set on fire.
Yeah.
But nobody said he kicked a cat that was on fire. That's a different story.
I do have more info, but it's very upsetting.
Which is bad.
Just for people listening, the cat was propelled through the air around 15 to 20 feet. The kick was recorded by another man who encouraged him to kick the cat, and then they posted the video
They
to social
set
media.
the cat. Are you sure these weren't Haitians trying to cook the cat and
In
eat it?
Springfield.
These weren't Springfield Haitians. Are you sure? Because I was watching Hannity and I heard that these were Haitians who were trying to barbecue the cat. Not
Is
that
this
story?
like the first time that like this animal cruelty thing has gone? Somebody got convicted for 3 years because normally it's a slap on the wrist, right? I mean, this seems. I mean, that's a great.
I'm sure it's
thing.
not the first. I would be surprised if it was the first, but
I feel like I could see this guy's attorney like going like, look, this is your first cat kicking offense, so
Right.
I think we're in pretty good shape. I think I can get you like I can get community service or something. And then at
my
some
God.
point he like says to his client,
Sees
listen,
the video.
No, he saw the video. He's in cleanup mode. He's going to take care of his client. But at some point he says, we got a judge assigned to the case. Yeah. Middle-aged woman. Single. Oh, shit.
shit.
Hates J.D. Vance. Oh, fuck. Owns 4 cats.
No kids,
Okay,
yep.
fucking A. Start packing your bags.
Yep.
This is not going to be good.
But with this criminal record, he could work for the NFL when he gets out.
That's
That's true. Yeah.
Dog fighting and cat kicking. All right. What else? Got another story on there?
That was unfortunately the last one.
All right. Douglas Urbanski is big-time producer guy. I'm looking at Dawson. Don't know that he's here yet, but he's due here about now. He's done so many movies that you've heard of. It is. I'm trying to go down his list here. It
The
is-
Yeah.
legendary.
It's legendary. And Douglas does some acting as well. He was the principal of Harvard from the Social Network, which is a great movie. And you remember the Winklevoss twins came in to talk to him about how this isn't fair. That guy.
Cool.
That guy's coming in, was nominated also for, let's see, what movies? I'm trying to think where. Been in the Social Network, The Contender, RoboCop, remake, by the way. Oscar nominated. Oh, he's partners with Gary Oldman, who's a pretty damn good actor himself.
Cool, yeah.
All right, so we'll talk that. I will bid adieu to you two, and I will give you guys. I'll give you guys plugs at the end of the show. But Leah and Gary, great.
Thank you,
great
Adam.
job
Thank you.
coming
Thank
out.
you.
We'll talk to Douglas Urbanski right after this. O'Reilly Auto Parts. They're in the business of keeping your car on the road. O'Reilly offers friendly, helpful service and the parts and knowledge you'll need for all your maintenance and repairs. That's right. It's not just about maintenance. You got to repair it every once in a while yourself. I've been going to O'Reilly since, knee-high to a bull weevil? I don't know what they say, grasshopper. I've always gone to O'Reilly. I used to live up in the hills in La Crescenta. I'd go to the one up on Foothill. Still there. Passed it the other day. They've got thousands of parts and accessories in stock, either in-store or online, so you'll never have to worry if you're in a jam. The team at O'Reilly Auto Parts can test your battery for free in or out of your car, which is nice. You don't have to pull it. If it needs to be replaced, they'll help you find the right battery for your vehicle. Need your windshield wipers replaced, brake light fixed, quick service. They'll help you find the right part or point you to the nearest local repair shop for help as well. Whether you're a car aficionado or an auto novice, you'll find the team at O'Reilly knowledgeable, helpful, and best of all, friendly. So the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts are your one-stop shop for all things auto, do-it-yourself, and you can find what you need in the store or online. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam. That's O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam.
It's time for Nicaraguan Name That Movie with Adam's buddy Oswaldo. See if you can guess which movie this famous line is from.
We're going strikey!
If you said old school,
We're going streaky! Yes!
You're correct. Now, back to the show.
Douglas Urbanski is in studio. He's a film producer, he's an actor, he's a radio show host, a raconteurs partner with Gary Oldman, goes back 30 years. Very interesting guy. Good to see you.
Very nice to meet you. I'm a huge fan, by the way. You're one of the smartest and funniest people out there, so I'm kind of awestruck. I'm very rarely awestruck by seeing anyone.
Really?
Yeah.
So my default setting, if I talk to somebody and we said, Gary Urbanski, and Douglas Urbanski was the last guest. Douglas, and my default setting, if they said, does this guy know who the fuck you are? I'd go, no, why would he? That would be mine. So the fact that you're a fan, surprising to me.
Huge fan. Yeah.
But where did you consume me?
Well, oh my God, your appearances on Fox News. And of course, your discussion about building this building and getting permits and all it stays with me. Because you remember the piece you did about how the things you had to go through? The regulations you did hilarious.
Well, I did a semi-famous bit that my guys may not be able to find or not, but maybe Dawson will know what I'm talking about. Remember that crazy rant I did on Joel McHale's pool? I think that maybe that could be talked about. But you and I are the same way, which is it's kind of a weird thing, especially in Hollywood.
What do you mean we're the same way? What is this?
People go conservative, and you're like, I don't care what you do with your pot. I don't care what you do with your boyfriend or your girlfriend. Like, I don't care about any of this stuff. I just want a little less regulation, and I want to flourish.
Ronald Reagan said that libertarianism was the cornerstone of conservatism. Mm-hmm. And whenever I would say that on the radio, I'd get a nasty email from Mark Levin, who's sort of the head of the Vatican of conservatism. He excommunicates, and then you're invited back in. But we are all libertarians. That's where it's at, and that's always what I've been. And it's enough said.
No, listen. I answered it. I'll paraphrase my tweet, but it's like I was explaining to someone how much I loved the work of Thomas Sowell, and you guys can look him up. I don't know. He's 94 years young, black, a lot of wisdom.
And you saw him over the weekend. Do you see him on the Levin show on the weekend?
I did not see him.
He did about a 7-minute hit that was so dazzling, so clear, so simple. And he's a giant, and he's got a lot of not hope. He has pessimism about things.
Well, so somebody then said, "Oh, it figures you'd like your far right, guy, Thomas Sowell," and I was like, I literally wrote the guy back, and I said, "The guy's 94 years old. Far right to him is just what was called pragmatism." Through his whole life, he's just being a pragmatic guy and getting labeled far right. Like everything is just far right. It's just it's just pragmatism.
If you mentioned The Social Network, I think earlier when I was sitting out there.
Very good movie, by the way.
At some point, I asked David why he put me in the movie, and ran into Aaron at a party, and Aaron said, "Have you seen the video?"
David, sorry,
Fincher. Sorry.
Yes.
And Aaron Sorkin said, "Have you seen the video about the making of?" This is going to weave back to what you just said. And I said, "No, I haven't looked at the extras. I'm not a civilian. We don't look at extras." Mm. I went home and looked, and it was very moving. I sped forward to my little bit, and there was David saying, "Oh my God, Doug Urbanski has the finest brain of anyone I've ever met," which is big for David Fincher because he has in his mind, he's got the top 22 brains of anyone he ever met.
Yeah.
But there was Aaron, and Aaron said, "Oh my God," he said, Doug Urbanski's great. He's probably the smartest person I ever met." And he said, "We don't agree on anything." He said, "He fills in for Rush Limbaugh. We don't agree, but oh my God, he's a great guy." Now, that was 2009 when we filmed that movie.
Yeah.
How things have changed. Because today, Aaron wouldn't say that.
Right.
We became completely polarized. And so I stopped. I had to make a decision. Somebody I think named Norm Patitz had come to me after I was filling in for Rush, and he said, "Here's your own show."
From Westwood One.
Yeah, a nice man, a smart man.
Yeah.
And he gave me a show. Mm-hmm. And the hardest part of doing the deal was giving me a 90-day out just to walk away from it. Mm-hmm. And at some point, as things became weirder, I had to choose a lane. Mm-hmm. And my lane is making movies. I'm not an activist. I'm not 22. I feel passionately about things. I have a lot of friends in that world, but I had to choose. So I make movies and TV shows.
I had a thought, and it reminded me when you talked about that, or here's this person that thinks you have a fantastic mind, but then disagrees with everything. I was just thinking sort of randomly the other day about Elon Musk and Mark Cuban, and I go, I like them both. I don't know Elon. I know Mark. I like Mark. I think they're both really interesting people. I think they have good minds and good brains, and Elon's Elon. I don't think anyone's smarter than him, but Cuban's smart, and I like Cuban, and he's done a lot in his life and had success and so on and so forth. And I think to myself, how can they be so far apart when sort of viewing the same? It's almost like you're sort of viewing the same movie or the same game film or the same something. Like, I just feel like I'm just looking at game film and I'm seeing game film of this country, for instance.
Are you asking what is it that makes the logical part of the brain kick in?
Well,
because once it starts,
Mark
it's
Cuban
hard,
would go, I'm the one who's thinking logically, and I'm voting. I wish Nancy Pelosi was the president, and then Elon Musk is thinking another way. But yeah, what is it? What is it that you can take two people that are so bright and so dynamic and so successful and have them being polar opposites?
So there's a speech that Ronald Reagan gives in 1977, the CPAC speech. I don't know if you've ever come across it. It's a really interesting read. He talks about conservatism. And he says conservatives are basically people who agree on almost nothing. And we see a lot of that.
Yes.
But they agree on one thing. And he isolates the one thing. He says what we agree upon is not doing what doesn't work, doing the things we've learned that do work. He says, in short, conservatism is knowing when to come in from out of the rain. I can't do it any better than that. So what separates the logical brain when you want to do what works versus what doesn't work? And to my way of thinking, there is a disconnect. Critical thinking doesn't always work the way on the other side.
No, I agree. I get it as it pertains to people from a distant village, from a different era, who go, the superstitious tribesmen just believe that the volcano has to do with the crop yield, and so they got to throw a virgin in the volcano.
But you swerved into a really important thing. Those families that vote Democrat, let's say, or conservative. Our family have been Democrat forever. Critical thinking is not very much involved in family history and where you come from. You just sort of follow what you've done. There's the reactive conservatives, reactive Democrats. And there's not a lot to be proud of in the Republican Party either right now, or in the Conservative Party. I spent 180 days of the year in the UK and watching what how the Conservatives broke every promise that that they had the opportunity to do, to achieve. And we see where that's placed them. There's going to be a House debate about discussion about whether there should be another election, a confidence vote.
Yeah, look, to me, you can find fault in both sides all the time, every time. It's a matter of like a couple of core issues, and it sort of depends where you come down. I just come down on less government, left alone.
But would you also be a free speech absolutist?
Yes,
me too.
I would be as well.
And that's the scary part, because you and I would imagine we're similar age. I'm probably a lot older or something.
No.
But the idea would be, you and I remember the day when they would say, I detest your ideas, I detest what you say, but I'll fight to the death your right to say it. It's a cliche.
Yeah.
But that's gone because it's all misinformation now. It's all misinformation that we say it's going to have to be regulated. We saw Merrick Garland's weird speech this morning, and you say, oh my goodness, what's this about?
Well, the part that's scaring me a little about the time we're in is, which I wasn't in pre-COVID, is when someone preemptively gives a speech, I go, okay, what's he setting the table for? Like, what's going on? What's coming down the pike? I do not trust these people. He's not doing it to inform the electorate. He's saying something, and he's going to cash in on it at some point. I'm not sure what it is. Here's the thing that's interesting to me.
You can be sure it's not good.
No, it's not going to be good. Well, it might be good for him.
And you can be sure that, as our pal Victor David Hansen recently said, he said they have things in store for us that we can't imagine.
Yes, those things are coming, I'm sure, and he's setting the table, but it's just to me, it's like an overall 10,000 foot, view down of what we're looking at, which is this. I just go free speech. I just want free speech. And I don't want it to be regulated. And I feel Elon Musk feels that way. You feel that way. Okay. Their thing on the other side of the aisle is free speech, but here's some rules. Here's a bunch of rules. And we're going to take some 27-year-old chick who agrees with us, and then we'll put her in charge of what is real speech, free speech, and then what is misinformation and disinformation and dangerous information. Okay, so you got a lot. You have you, me, and Elon Musk. It's just free speech. It's just free speech. And then there's the other side that goes, we love free speech as much as you do. Here's 26 caveats to why we're against free, here's 26 rules as to why we're against free speech, but we're for free speech as much as you are. And I feel the same way about the border, which is like, we want the border shut down and we want a wall down the border and build a wall, shut the border down. And then they go, we want control of the border as well, and we don't want illegal immigration as much as you do, but we don't want a wall and we don't want the border shut down, and we don't want Remain in Mexico, and we don't want, and you go, well, it sounds to me like you're not as into border security as I am. And then they go, no, we're in every bit as much. We just don't want all this stuff. And I'm like, whether it's the border or sort of free speech, I'm kind of wondering, is this what you really want, or is it sort of or are you saying what you think people need to hear while not wanting it?
Well, you also find yourself wondering what actually is the end game of all this. What is the end game of all this? It's way beyond.
The end game is look. The end game is basically California during COVID. They're in charge, and you're staying home. That's the end game.
Okay.
I guess
during COVID, I'm commuting back and forth to the UK.
Oh, really?
Gary Oldman and I had 9 months alone in the Dorchester Hotel. Not another human being in the entire building for 9 months. Very spooky. Very, very, very horrendous
Staff
experience.
Working there.
No cook, no maid, a man with a key at night when we come home from shooting.
Really?
It was horrendously spooky, 9 months. And there was a food crisis in London. We couldn't get food. We had to get a man to bring us food. It was horrible. Boris Johnson, to his credit, declared something called Liberty Day, July 17th. It was 2021. Mm-hmm. And he said, enough of this. No more rules. It was the greatest day. I would go to the airport to get on British Airways or American Airlines, required to put the mask on coming to California.
Sure.
On August the 8th, 2021, they lifted entering the UK any COVID test rules. Coming back, California, I looked it up recently, they didn't ultimately lift their final COVID rules until February of 23, which is shocking when you, I had to look it up to remember how real it was. So this grand experiment, we ask what the end game is. Well, I mean, if you're of my thinking, you see grand experiments, science experiments all over the place. We're the project.
Yeah. And scary that it's worked as effortlessly as it has on such a large percentage of the populace.
The scary part to me is how quickly we forget what those days were like.
I'm trying to. Here's my synopsis of that. By the way,
that's part of PTSD. You forget.
Yeah. Oh no. That is true. I think there's a phenomenon which is sort of transcends forgetting. I think what we're dealing with is, I told everyone what was going on while it was going on early, about 8 days in.
So your name is on a list.
I'm sure. I'm an agitator, and I yelled at everybody, and then I called everyone pussies and cowards, and that's all I did. And I said, take back your land, stop doing what they're telling you to do. And then everyone yelled at me and criticized me and attacked me. Then we passed through it, got a little daylight and a little distance, and then I turned out to be right about everything I talked about. Now, it may sound grandiose, but I sent 1 million tweets out. I spoke into this microphone for 2 hours a day, every day through COVID. And if someone can find some piece of information or some highlight or some tweet that I sent out that makes me factually incorrect about COVID, I will happily examine it on the air. But you can't, because I was right about everything, because it was easy. It was easy. All you had to do was the opposite of whatever Anderson Cooper and Don Lemon were saying, and you would be correct. It was easy, or Gavin Newsom. Now, the people that went through it and got suckered into it, they didn't forget they got suckered into it. They don't want to have it rubbed in their face. They don't want acknowledgement. They don't acknowledge it. And they certainly don't want to relive the part where they told a handful of people to shut up when they were cowering under the bed. So really what it is a convenient amnesia. They know what happened. They know what their role was, and they know they were cowards, and they know what I did, but they're not apologizing to me because that would be a recognition of their cowardice, and they don't want to deal with it.
You imagine this? A world where the people who are vaccinated are in terror of the people who are not vaccinated, and the people who are not vaccinated have no terror whatsoever.
It's scary. It's not a good harbinger for what's to come. I said a million times during COVID, I said I learned nothing about disease, but I learned a lot about human beings, and I'm scared shitless of what I learned.
Just to go down this rabbit trail, it's not my favorite rabbit trail to go down. It shouldn't be anyone's. But Dr. Birx, you remember Dr. Birx with her scarves and all? She's written a book. You probably are familiar with the book. I looked at the book. The book, in my view, is the indictment of her. If you were going to prosecute, her book would be the indictment. How we fooled the president, how we tricked the president, how we lied to the president, how we made it up as we went along. People boast about this stuff.
I agree.
That's it.
Listen. I've been told quite a few times to shut up and turn the page, and my answer to everyone is fuck off. Because I'm not shutting up and turning the page because I don't want this to happen again.
So
number one, and number two, you should be punished.
You're on the big list.
I'll happily be at the top of any list because I got a little something called dignity. I'm not selling it. I'm not giving it up, and it's not a goddamn popularity contest. It's not a popularity contest. You have to be accurate. And you have to be truthful. But don't worry about speaking truth to power, because that's just a made-up sentence. All right, I should give your project a plug, by the way. I don't feel like you come here. We're talking about everything but slow horses.
No, I've not been to Glendale in a long time, so I'm due.
That's either a really good thing or possibly a bad thing. Like if you're in prison, you wouldn't be to Glendale for a long time. But if you're in Bel Air, it'd be a good thing that you did not have to schlep it out to Glendale, California.
Funny enough, the first time I think I ever did radio at all was at the Salem Studios somewhere near here. So I've been here.
The Salem Studios is the crow flies and or any bird, if you really think about it. It shouldn't be exclusive to the crows. It's just about 3 miles from here, where I go see my good friend Dennis Prager every once in a while. We do... The clip that you may be referring to about me yelling about the government and permits and building could have been the Joel McHale's building a swimming pool rant from the morning show from at least 16, 17 years ago. Joel McHale, the impetus of the story is Joel McHale lived up in the hills, lived in a beautiful home, wanted a swimming pool, was going to build a swimming pool, but then had to go to the city to ask for permission to build the swimming pool. And the story, that's where we'll pick up the story. Sorry.
Is going to be there coming up December 27th on his Let's Dig Me a Pool tour.
Yeah.
How's it going?
We saw the plans.
How are you coping with the coping?
Well, let me just say that I think I need to go out more.
Really?
Because this retaining wall, I feel like we're building a dam.
Oh.
A hydro. It's like the Hoover Dam. It's a hydro, like it's going to be
There'll actually be day laborers entombed in it.
Yes, it will be like the Great Wall of China.
Yes.
It will take so long, and it will be so deep and so high that...
I've said it once, I'll say it again, and I'll be very quick about it. All of you who claim to be simpatico with the government and who are cool with the administration and cool with the man, come out to Southern California, buy yourself a axe, and by the way, it translates into hundreds of thousands of dollars that you throw literally into a hole in the ground because some a-hole engineer wanted to satisfy the city. He has no stake in it, and it is completely and utterly
and it's their
insane.
Time for power.
Yes,
their little
and all you do is cut the checks. My brother-in-law has a house.
Well, I'd probably say the rant part's the part we were thinking about, so we can move toward that part.
We'll get there.
McKinney.
Well, I know. I'm no doubt we're
I
going to
know,
get there.
But we went to the clip, and that one set it up nicely. So I said, play it from the top.
Okay.
So we'll find the rant and get it back up there for you.
Well, I agree. It set it up, but I also just set it up.
Yes, you did.
All right. So get to the rant, and I don't know. It's probably coming because that's the part that people may remember, or that 10, 20 seconds before the rant, perhaps. All right. Or you can just play it from where you played it.
Every goddamn city
I'm
bureaucrat in the city.
Look what you've done.
Number two.
Standing, everyone.
Is this
Let
the
me
beginning
say
of it?
this. Joel, you like this tea?
I was so excited for the Oprah clip.
Start thinking. You think about posters with cats on
Okay.
You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
Hang in
Okay.
there. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, if you want to do any building in this goddamn city, especially if it's up in the hills, you must either build the Hoover Dam or Hitler's bunker.
Right.
Why? Because we're an earthquake country. Because it's dangerous, and we hide behind safety. We hide behind the veil of safety.
Very
Hey, just playing
COVID.
it safe. Hey, better safe than sorry. Hey, we're an earthquake country. My house was built in 1929. It has no reinforced concrete, no plywood because plywood wasn't invented, no Simpson straps, no HDs, no hold downs, no all thread, no J bolts, no nothing. 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 They had some poor Irish guy, poor foundation, and they set a house on it.
He sweated
That
blood.
was it. There was no straps and no Tico clips and no 835s and no continuous shear wall and no moments and no nothing. No nailing schedule, no inspector, no nothing. Now, nothing.
Nothing.
Now that house was built in 1929, and you know where it is today? Right the F where it was put by all the dead people with no hold downs and no rebar and no bunkers and no straps and no nothing. Why? It's an earthquake country. It's an earthquake country. Now, what do you think the house did? You retards? Did it sprout legs and run to Montana every time there was an earthquake, and then hustle back and land on its foundation? No! It sat there with no straps, no plywood, no nailing schedule, no hold downs, no all thread, no piers, no pylons, no grade beams, no retaining walls, nothing! I don't know what we're yelling about! 80 goddamn years through every goddamn earthquake this city could put up, and it has moved not an inch. But yet, when I add a garage onto the back of the house, it has to withstand an oil tanker running aground and plowing into the side of it. Why? Because the structure that I build new can't be twice.
So the point is this. It's the safety thing. We just did it with COVID. We said, look, safety uber alles. And you go, well, that's going to damage the kids if you shut the schools down. I don't care. If one teacher gets COVID, it's worth it. And it's like, no, it's not. It can't be safety all day, every day, uber alles. You start hurting people, and you start impinging upon freedoms, too, because that's then the government telling you every single thing you need to do for safety. It's an issue. And that was 16 years old.
Oh, but we have it every day. They say,
yeah.
oh, there's a heat wave coming. What are we, babies? What are we? It's September. It's always hot in LA. Oh, it's going to be rain. We're not babies, but they.
No, they're using
love
the fear mongering is what. Here's basically the way it works, or the way best I can tell how these things work. You have a man and a woman. The man traditionally goes out and works, and the woman's sort of in charge of the home and the safety. And I don't mean safety like shotguns. I just mean like she's kind of in charge of home base. And it's why they advertise to women, because women shop. You know what I mean? So you want someone buying your product, advertise it to a woman because she's the one doing the shopping more often than not. So when you're trying to sell COVID, you sell it to the women. Scare the shit out of the women, and then the women set policy at the home, and then the guy, if he's not following the policy that the woman set from watching The View and listening to whatever other retarded cacklers there are on TV, if the guy doesn't go along with that, then the guy's going to get ostracized in his own home. So that's essentially how we scare all the chicks and then indoctrinate the weak dudes into something like COVID. And anyone who disagrees with whatever the policy is gets called racist or something. Elitist or something.
Of course.
Which I like. Yeah, so what did you do? Did you, during COVID, I did battle with the LA Unified School District. I did battle with everybody.
Well, I was really in a strange club because I got a call from the head of Apple Europe saying, what about it? You want to come over and start shooting the show? Because we had set up the show. It was supposed to start shooting in April of that year.
On Apple TV, sorry.
Yes. Yes. And she said, you want to come over? There was no vaccine, which at that minute, that was kind of terrifying. We now know that it's more terrifying to get the vaccine.
Yeah.
But at that minute, so she said, you want to come over? And England was open for production, the only place in the world. It was open for production because if you follow the money, there's a lot of American money that goes into production in the UK. And so we went over, Gary and I went over and we started shooting the show and we worked the whole time. But it was very weird because if you went around London, it was like a zombie movie. You didn't see a living human being on the streets, not at all. You didn't see a soul. You didn't see an open store, an open coffee shop, an open restaurant, nothing. And it was a very, very mind freezing sort of a situation.
Yeah, London. Horrible. I think the original death modeling came from that
Nile
retard that was banging his guma in England, who just said, I predict 7 billion people will die. And everyone went, well, let's listen to the guy's fucking his girlfriend.
And he kept doubling down on it.
Yeah. And so all the dumb, scared people listen to the idiots who I've never... Experts have slid so far in my mind that you will do more damage to me or in my mind by... If I hear the word expert in front of your name and it doesn't have anything to do with wood or welding, I think you're an imbecile.
So there we are, the Dorchester Hotel, Gary Oldman and myself, the only two human beings in this massive old building, a building of murders and suicides and intrigue, and suddenly all that starts weighing on your head in this empty building. And you don't have any contact with a living soul other than your driver who takes you to the studio where they swab you, where you have to walk on a line because you have to walk one direction to get to the stage and not because it's COVID. And if you walk the opposite direction, you're going to kill everybody.
Science.
So we couldn't fly home during our days or weeks off because there was always a 10-day quarantine period when you arrived back. So we went on one flight. We were the only 2 passengers on British Airways.
Wow.
12 flight attendants, 5 tons of asparagus below. So the great asparagus crisis was averted at least. And we took to watching things like Below Decks and Married at First Sight. Here we make these fancy movies and shows that win Oscars.
Yeah, you wouldn't think Gary Oldman would watch Below Decks.
We're watching reality junk television just to sort of it was our drug because we were locked in this building for those months.
How is Gary Oldman is one of those guys that's, there's actors pretty interchangeable oftentimes. I mean, we don't need them or anything. But there's a couple of guys, like there's a Daniel Day-Lewis and maybe Gary Oldman. So there's just like 5, Meryl Streep. There's probably 5 that we go, oh no, we need, these people are different. Maybe Brian Cox. I don't know. I mean, he's a douchebag, but I mean, he was...
I gave him his first American job ever. I know him for a very long time.
I'm sure he's a world-class douche. Huge bag of douche, a dripping, bloated sack of douche. Like, I've heard him talk. He's a fucking douchebag. But he can act. What was the first movie you gave him?
It was a play. It was a play on Broadway.
Play.
Yeah, I did Eugene O'Neill's Stranger Delude. There was a famous actress.
I loved Manhunter.
Yeah,
the original.
Well, of course, Brian has lived his whole life playing the part that someone else wins an Oscar for. Because Tony
That's
won,
why he's so angry.
Yeah, Tony won the Oscar for Hannibal Lecter, and of course Gary won the Oscar for Churchill. And you can find interviews with Brian saying his Churchill was better and he doesn't get it. And he lives his life always like this, griping about this stuff. Yeah, I did a play, Eugene O'Neill's Stranger Delude, with an actress called Glenda Jackson. No one would know who that name is.
I remember Glenda Jackson.
Yeah, nor should you. She was not a lot of fun. But
short haircut with bangs. I'm trying to think. I can picture Glenda Jackson.
She became a very liberal MP as well.
Oh, I love it when they do the work, the Lord's work after.
I once did a production of Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf that was directed by the author, Edward Albee, and it starred Glenda and John Lithgow. And it was terrible.
All right, I said bangs and a bob cut. Now, we're looking at Glenda Jackson from 1959. I'm talking about Glenda Jackson from the 80s or 90s. Same. I just.
Well, this is Touch of Class era. I think she won an Oscar.
All I think is this bangs and bob. When you said Glenda Jackson, I started thinking about bangs.
What a miserable. Good grief. What a miserable
She's
actress.
miserable.
And by the way, Gary Oldman acted in a play with her years ago as well. I think we bonded over the fact that we had a similar view
You
of Glenda.
hate Glenda Jackson? Yeah. Me and my first wife had that same thing. That's how we met. We're bonding over our hatred for Glenda Jackson. So she's just going with this blowhard Hollywood or New York elitist, political, whatever.
Well, we did this production of Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, and we, at the technical rehearsal, which was horrendous, it was boring. You needed Tylenol in your pockets. I remember going out to dinner with Edward Albee afterwards, and he said, "What should we do?" And my sincere view was that it would be better if John Lithgow had been playing Martha and she had been playing George. I thought we would have at least had something interesting to watch.
How is Oldman? I mean, he's friends with you, so he can't be too bad. Does he do stuff? I never see him make the rounds, so to speak, or like speak out. Like De Niro's always popping up on The View, yelling about Trump and stuff like that. Like the guys show up places. I don't know where I see Gary Oldman.
Over the years, he's done them. He's been out doing a little bit right now for Slow Horses for the show.
Well, can you get him in here?
Yeah,
we'll do it.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about now. No,
I mean not now. He actually lives in Palm Springs full time.
Okay.
But
we'll send him an Uber.
But yeah, no, he'll come. He's coming out. We have the Emmy Awards on Sunday. He's staying with us. How is he? Oh, he's good. He's good. He's fun, and he's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And gifted, I would say.
The gifts of this man as an actor are pretty significant. I've employed a lot of great actors. He's really good.
Yeah.
He doesn't have 88 keys. His keyboard is like many, many more keys.
Oh, like meaning he's just the range.
Yeah, the range is enormous. I mean, when it came time for him to play Churchill, he didn't want to do it for about 3 years. He swore at me, "Don't bring this up again." Mm-hmm. And he'd always tell you who they should get for a role.
Yeah, get Cox.
Yeah, get some. Yeah, right. But no, Gary has range, and he has the gift of concentration, and he has also he has the gift. He knows what's right or wrong with the script, and he knows what a director's doing. He knows more about what's happening on a set than anyone I've ever met, and then everyone else involved in the set.
Emmys, you guys going to the Emmys?
Yeah.
Nominated or just for the food?
No, yeah. We have 9 nominations.
9?
Yeah.
9 for Slow Horses?
Yes.
Wow.
Have you seen the show?
No, sorry.
That's all right.
They didn't tell me. They snuck this up on me.
That's all right.
Available on Apple TV. Well, now I'm going to watch it.
Do you have Apple TV?
I think I do. It's a little tough. I moved to Malibu. I'm not sure what I have.
Did you feel the earthquake?
I thought I had Uber.
Did you feel the earthquake?
I mean, no, not Uber. What I thought, Hulu the other day, and I didn't have it. And yes, I felt the earthquake.
Yeah, okay.
But as you may have been able to tell from my Joel McHale rant about shear walls and grade beams and retaining walls and stuff, I used to do earthquake rehab work. So I've been so deep into the earthquake world that I just know exactly what to fear and what not to fear.
What is earthquake rehab work?
They have many buildings in downtown LA, mostly sort of Koreatown.
In construction?
Well, remember when I was yelling about Tico clips and A35s and hold downs and all thread and all that?
It was a little knowledgeable.
You got it.
It was a little,
it's hard to riff.
It's
hard to riff. Not many people know what grade beams are, number 5 rebar and things like that.
It's a little obsessive, yeah.
Yeah. Well, so I used to do earthquake rehab work.
When you said earthquake rehab, I thought you counseled people who had been through...
people who lived in Peru
yes.
and were taken out by tsunami. Yes. Look, we're never going to be able to bring your dog back, but you need to move. He would have wanted you to move on.
My right arm was shattered in the North earthquake to bits.
Really?
Yes.
Shattered
Kyle
to bits?
knows this. I think, Kyle, you know this, don't you? Yeah. Yes. Because you were there the day.
Well, hold on a second.
Yeah.
The Northridge earthquake from 94... took place at like 3:30 or 4 in the morning.
That's right.
And so your arm was shattered.
That's
but
right.
it would mean because you were tossed out of bed or something?
No. We were shooting a film called Murder in the First.
I've heard of that.
And there were some sound stages out in Northridge. It was one of those nights where the hot winds were blowing, the devil winds.
Yeah, earthquake
And I went
weather.
out there, and it had Kevin Bacon and Christian Slater and Gary was in it. And I remember a courtroom scene, and I was lighting 2 cigarettes. In those days, you could actually smoke on a soundstage.
Sure.
And we had about 100 extras. And had Mark, the director, not said cut, we would have the perfect on the epicenter footage of the earthquake.
The
Perfectly
Northridge
lit.
quake.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where the epicenter was. So you were filming at 4 in the morning?
We were.
I mean, somebody can check, but I think that thing hit at like
4:30.
4:30.
Yeah,
Wow, that's an early day or super late night?
Oh, yeah. And what followed in the minutes and hours after
Well,
was
how'd
so
you
bizarre.
shatter your arm?
Well, as always, when you're in a big soundstage, there's one little tiny door. And when that building went, and I mean it went like 9 feet and 9 feet the other
Right.
way. And those days we had lights overhead that were the size of Volkswagens. We don't
Right.
have that anymore. And I slid on the floor, and my arm got caught under a forklift and just mashed to bits.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Oh,
And then they took me to the Sylmar Hospital, which was collapsing.
Yeah.
And they were bringing
Sylmar
the people.
was falling apart.
They were bringing the people out in the parking lot, and there were people arriving with crushed feet and crushed hips and glass in their stomachs, and they were groaning like you were in a war zone. Ah! And they were actually working on people in this parking lot. But as the sun was coming up, and you could see the dust cloud over LA, it was a very bizarre day.
I was in La Cañada sleeping.
But you would have felt it very sharply there.
I got La Crescenta, actually, but same difference. Yeah, I got hit. Yeah, I felt it. But again, I used to do earthquake rehab where I counseled people from Peru. No, where I went into buildings, old brick buildings in like Koreatown from the 20s, and there had no earthquake, anything, safety. They were going to crumble if an earthquake hit. Somehow they'd made it that long. This is pre-94, so our job was to earthquake rehab the building, which, I won't bore you with the details.
No,
but it was
because
pretty dirty.
I'm more interested. I'm not going to ask you now, but the transition from earthquake rehab to the next chapter of the life, it sounds like you got fed up with it.
Well, when you're underneath a building in Koreatown with about a big building, those were like 50-unit buildings, old brick, all singles. Like back when they had housing for poor people, like sailors and stuff who came back from wars and stuff. If you're under a building that needs to be rehabbed for earthquake, also realizing if there is an earthquake while you're under the building, that's where they're going to bury you. And you're digging a footing for pouring a footing, for building a cripple wall, and then a shear wall on the cripple wall, and putting all threads and hold downs of the wall above you. If you're digging that footing underneath this building, this like condemned building in Koreatown, and you only have about 26 inches of crawl space under the building, and there's a dead cat, 5 feet away, and you cannot use a shovel to dig the footing because you don't have enough room to use a shovel, so you are digging it with a coffee can while you lay on your belly in dirt from a building in Koreatown that's built in the 20s. You think, what else could I do? There's got to be something that doesn't involve digging a footing with a coffee can under a condemned building. So that's where the mind goes. You know what I mean? You don't really think about how many more footings you could dig with a coffee can. You start thinking, maybe comedy.
Well, you didn't love your work.
I did not
You
love
did not
that.
love your work.
That was the worst, dirtiest, hardest job I ever had. But the city paid you. Because the city was paying for the job, so you got prevailing wage. And I ended up getting, at the time, I was making like $12 an hour on the street, but I was getting like $19.75 on the earthquake job, which was a big boost cash-wise for me. And because it's the city, somehow the laborers got paid more than the carpenters. And on the street, the carpenters were getting $15 an hour and the labor would get $8 an hour. But according to the city, because they're the city, they paid the laborers more than the carpenters. Because I was the best carpenter, I got designated as a laborer so I could get another $1.50 an hour.
Excellent.
But once you tear through enough buildings, as I did, and you know exactly how buildings are built, you do not fear earthquakes unless you're in one of those brick.
What, meaning that they're more resilient than we have any idea?
You can't do anything to. You could do nothing to a modern house built in Los Angeles with an earthquake. Nothing. There's no amount of earthquake that can do it. Nothing. Anything even semi-modern.
So what about these annual terrifying videos that they put out?
Okay. Earthquakes destroy all the third worlds that are built with concrete and brick and unreinforced concrete. No rebar in it, just stacked blocks and poured concrete. They brittle, they fall apart. You cannot, and in Sylmar and in Northridge, a couple of the concrete piers or pilasters gave way in the underground parking of a couple apartment buildings, and the apartment building comes down.
Oh, we saw them all along Moore Park.
Right. Because the concrete pier gives way. Only masonry is affected by the earthquake. You will never see a residential house come apart because of earthquakes.
How are you on the structural integrity on commercial airliners?
Well, now with DEI, I can sleep at night. Yeah. I have less thoughts about that than I do because I never worked in that field. But I fly a lot.
Me too.
And, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
But no, I'm not down with all the DEI stuff because when American Airlines goes, by the year 2035, we want half of our pilots to be either women or people of color. I'm like, I just get the best pilots. Would you please? We don't need to integrate everything all the time. At a certain point, it can get dangerous.
You bet.
Yeah.
And we think about it. But anyway, that's...
Well, as I've said, the real injustice of DEI, like the real ugly underbelly of DEI, is me getting on an American Airlines flight in 2030, seeing there's a black female pilot and thinking, why is she here? That's the insidious part, because she could have flown for the Navy. She could be the best. She could be the top of her class at flight school. She could be all that stuff. But now I'm questioning why she's here. It's the same way with seeing a young black man on the campus of Harvard. It's unfair to him for me to go, and he just how were his SAT scores? But it's not as good as the Asian kids. That's unfair to that person because that person could have earned their way there and shouldn't be judged that way. That's the kind of insidious downside of DEI.
Yes. I'm not going to be lured into. I have a show business life to run.
Not really. You just keep sucking up to Oldman, you'll be fine.
Wow. Okay.
How was Rush? You filled in for Rush Limbaugh. You were rated the most liked or appreciated person who filled in for Rush Limbaugh.
Better than that.
Better than that.
It was better than that. 1-800-282-2882 was the number. The thing about that was, it got to the point where the 88% of Rush's audience would stay in their seats for all 3 hours on the days I was on.
Wow.
And that was something Mark Stein, lovely guy, he held like 34% of the audience. But so I became valuable to Rush because when Rush was paid such an enormous amount of money, those days are over, but he had to, as I understand it, he had to pay some money back on days he wasn't there if the numbers didn't hold. So Rush knew two things. He knew I could hold the audience. He also knew when our pal Norm Patitz came and said, put on a show opposite him, which we did, in under a year, we were trailing ahead of him in 13 of the top 20 markets. I'm
trailing ahead of him?
Excuse me, we were leading ahead of him in 13 of the top 20 markets, including Nashville, a place I've never visited. But apparently I was big in Nashville.
Yeah.
Rush did everything you could imagine to make sure that show got killed, which I didn't want to do the show anyway. When Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy came out, the studio came to me and they said, you've got to choose here.
Right.
Because Harvey Weinstein is going to make a big thing out of the fact that you do this other thing.
I miss that guy. Yeah,
well, he may be dead any minute
that's
from the
right.
stories we're reading. Anyway.
So sad.
It's all too odd to any of us who had an interaction. Anyway, the minute I stopped doing radio, Rush begged me to come back as the fill-in. Which I did for a number of years. He was terrified because he knew I could hold the audience. That said, we were in touch until the day he died. He died on my birthday, in fact, which was weird. I got more mail about that. If someone asked me what my relationship with Rush was like, it was simple. Read the story in Vanity Fair about Joan Rivers and Johnny Carson. It is the exact same story. And I don't know what it's like to be that famous or that rich as Rush was or Johnny Carson was. But you know what it's like when you're the one in the wings who they're terrified of but need. So we had a relationship, and it was a very friendly relationship, but it was also a hard relationship.
Yeah, well, those guys...
And they treated me very well.
Yeah, there's a reason why David Letterman wanted Craig Kilborn to come on after him and not Jon Stewart.
You bet. It's a cesspool. And of course...
Who wants Jon Stewart waiting in the wings?
That's right.
So let's find an unlikable
the exact
guy.
same thing. But as it happens for me, I had a day job anyway, so I love my day job.
Well, listen, this was fascinating.
Really.
And it'll be great seeing you again when you bring in Gary Oldman.
We'll bring him, Paul. Yes, we'll.
Get him. Douglas Urbanski.
Because I guarantee you he's a fan.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, drop whisper a little sweet nothing into his ear, and when he's in the neighborhood,
well,
he could zoom in if he has to. But if you're in,
on
the
Zoom?
neighborhood,
You mean on Zoom?
we like to do it in person.
You know, the thing is, he does come in town, but we won't be back now till sometime after next June. We're headed off to start shooting seasons 6 and 7 and 8.
Of Slow Horses, available on Apple Plus TV. Fingers crossed with the Emmys. Hopefully.
I'm practicing my face that smiles when the other guy wins.
Well, let's hope it's not Gary Cox. I mean, Brian Cox.
He's not up this year, thank goodness.
Oh, good. Screw that guy.
Okay.
Or what's her name? The Banks. All right, gave the plug.
Thank you.
Leah and Gary Cannon, Boom Boom, as well. They got Gary's got live dates coming up, and what you should do is go to GaryCannon.com for all the live dates which are coming up. And Leah, you should go to her website, Leah, and I'll spell it out, KNAUER.com for her live dates. For me, Salinas coming up. That'll be tomorrow as you hear this. And Vegas coming up. That'll be Thursday doing Kimmel's Club. And until next time, this is Adam for Gary and Leah and Douglas saying mahalo.